Hola a tothom, hola a todos, ¿qué tal? I hope you enjoyed the lunch and the networking. And now it's time to continue with our work agenda. Circular economy, are we circular? Do you think we're circular? Because circular economy is key to allow the tourism sector's stakeholders to activate efficiency, innovation, and sustainability. Circularity boosts a greater tourism volume. Circularity is necessary for both the economy and, of course, the society. Travel and tourism actors can act as powerful enablers of circularity. The focus of the following discussion is circularity from different points of view: nature regeneration, also the European Circular Economy Action Plan, and the most outstanding projects. Moderates the next session, José María de Juan Alonso. He is CEO at Coan Consulting here in Spain. Mr. De Juan has a degree in tourism and human sciences. He's also postgraduate in international cooperation for development. And he is the founder and managing partner of Coan Consulting in Madrid, Spain, a consultancy firm with more than 20 years of experience specializing in planning and marketing of sustainable tourism destinations and products around the world. He's also a member of the board at Easter International Social Tourism Organization and a representative for Spain, trainer and auditor of the sustainability systems. Trade Life for tour operators and green destinations. José María is also founder and vice president of CTR, Spanish Center for Responsible Tourism. So please, Mr. De Juan, go ahead. Round of applause. The floor is yours. ¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. No, thank you. Please enjoy the session. And if you need anything, Mr. De Juan, I'll be next to you. And thank you so much. Go ahead.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Ainhoa. Good afternoon to all of you. Then we will start introducing our speakers. First of all, Enrique Martínez, President of Segitur. Second, Antonio Riera, Director of the Foundation Impulsa and Professor of Environmental Economy at the University of the Balearic Islands. Then we have Jaume Ordinas, Financial Controller of Garden Hotels. And finally, Elif Balsi, who is, this is a bit long, I have to have a look then, which is coming from Turkey. And is Deputy Manager of the Division of Development and Tourist Operations in the Promotion and Development Agency of Tourism in Turkey. So welcome to all of you. And then we are ready to start this roundtable on the circular economy. And I just want to say a couple of introducing words. The point is that normally we are a small company, but we work for very interesting and many interesting destinations and companies. And normally when we have to address this question of the circular economy, like any other aspect of the sustainability, at the end, the main question from our clients is, but how can we do it in the everyday life? So it's very good, very nice, and I think it's something we have to do, like what we are doing here, talking about the Glasgow Declaration and all this declaration of principles. But at the end, especially I work with many small hotels, small rural accommodations, municipalities, and they say, okay, Jose Maria, that's very nice, all these sustainable development goals, but how can we land it? We say that aterrizar in Spanish. How can we land it in our everyday life? And I am pretty sure that we have there many challenges. We have challenges on how to bring this to these small entities, how to engage the clients. I think is something very important. How to engage the staff we have nowadays. Everybody knows that thanks to the pandemics and to other crises, we have problems of how to keep the talent in the companies, how to find the proper staff. And then in addition, this is already very difficult, then we have to engage them, inform, sensitize, train about sustainability in general and also in circular economy. So I am pretty sure that you will be able to answer some of these questions, a bit of a strategy, a bit of practical application. So I hope you are able to transmit to us in the very little minutes we are giving to this roundtable about these questions. And let me, I know I will leave all the technical stuff to you, but let me tell you that yesterday night when I was coming to Mallorca, I decided, after having been here many times, thanks to different clients, I will not mention them because some of them they are around here and they know. And then I went to the old town. I wanted really to see the old city of Palma and to visit some of these old restaurants in the caves under the wall, etc. And then what I was feeling there, I was thinking about this roundtable, and then I said, this is what we have to transmit to the people. I was feeling the emotion, the remains of the different friends I have been in that place or in that hotel or in that restaurant. And then I was thinking about that. I think the question is, how can we do the things in the way that we can motivate, like the guy this morning, Aniol, if I remember well, talking about the oceans, etc. How can we really engage, motivate, and really being able to transmit some passion to our staff and also to our clients when we have to perform all this circular economy practical application. So I hope, I'm sure, I am sure, you will be able to transmit to us not only this technical capacity, which is for sure more than enough, but also this passion and how can we address our current and future tourists. So thank you very much again. Thank you to all the attendants for also for waiting after the lunch. And now, Enrique Martínez, President of Segitur, the floor is yours.
Muchas gracias. Bueno, pues buenas tardes, muchas gracias por la invitación. Y lo que voy a contarles es la experiencia que nosotros hemos desarrollado, si esto va. Ahí va. La experiencia de Segitur, que es una empresa pública del Ministerio de Industria, y hemos hecho unas guías para aplicar esto porque creemos firmemente que lo que se trata es de tener instrumentos que nos permitan actuar, ¿no? Venimos, como ustedes saben, de una crisis terrorífica para el sector, que nos ha dado la oportunidad, y es en ese contexto en el que presentamos la guía, de medirnos con nuevas métricas, y las nuevas métricas suponen compromisos colectivos, propósitos colectivos, nuevas prioridades que como empresas, como personas y como instituciones pues nos dotamos de ellas. Y me venía a la memoria libros como el de Medir nuestras vidas, del presidente que con 3 premios Nobel promovió el presidente Sarkozy, diciendo, oiga, midan otras cosas. Si hemos medido el PIB desde los años 50 porque nos importaban unas cosas, ha llegado el momento de medir de otras, y los ODS, la economía circular, son una mirada para medir con esas métricas distintas, y es una forma lo de medir y de marcarnos nuevas prioridades. Es importante entender que esas nuevas métricas son colectivas y exigen capacidades de intervención. Hay muchísimos análisis, pero desconocemos generalmente, aunque es obvio, hasta hace poco no estaba, la OMT en 2017 lo dejó bastante claro, ¿no? Pero que producimos, el turismo es una actividad privada que se produce en un espacio público, sintetizando mucho, y los dos activos fundamentales de un destino son los recursos y la gestión que tenga el organismo gestor. O sea, estos son políticas públicas. Y el ser capaz de comprender que hay que tener una visión territorial y un listado de capacidades de intervención públicas, privadas y personales es muy importante. El concepto de sostenibilidad, el de resiliencia, que se mezclan muchas veces sin distinguirlos, tiene dos escuelas, ¿no? La que se inicia con la serie de informes ligados a los límites del crecimiento en 1972, que lo que dicen es que se basa en que los recursos de la Tierra son finitos, una cosa que cada vez entendemos mejor o compartimos más, y que por tanto hay un momento en el que no se puede seguir avanzando, en el que hay que ser consciente de que hay límites. Y la otra escuela, que es está allí, la de este premio Nobel, William Nordhaus, o Planeta Inhóspito, o en versiones más exóticas, los autores que están abajo, insisten en que esto se puede modular de alguna forma. Unos son más pesimistas, otros son más optimistas, pero confían en un curso de intervención. La palabra, el debate es cómo embridar el crecimiento, cómo ser capaz de conducirlo, y ahí ha habido pues muchísimas métricas. Y la pregunta es, ¿nuestras capacidades institucionales están a la altura de esos retos que luego se declinan en cosas como la economía circular o en otras iniciativas? Pero al final es capacidades institucionales para conducir un proceso público y privado que nos lleve a obtener determinados resultados. Y al final de este debate sugiere dividirse en dos escuelas, ¿no? La de quienes hablan de sostenibilidad y quienes creen que ya han pasado cosas, que hay ya plásticos en el mar, hay ya cambio climático, y lo que tenemos es que tener instituciones capaces de responder a eso. Hay un esquema muy simple, pero que me gusta mucho, que es el que en el ámbito de la ciberseguridad y el terrorismo se dotó a Estados Unidos hace algún tiempo, con una iniciativa que se llama Homeland Security, que dice hay que prepararse para que las cosas no sucedan, hay que tener capacidad para, ante un desastre, reponerse pronto y responder de la mejor manera, y tener capacidad para reconstruirse después. Y eso de ser capaz de reconocer que hay un problema, ser capaz de minimizar el impacto, ser capaz de recuperarse rápido y ser capaz de seguir adelante sin dejar de ser lo que somos, turismo, me parece muy importante. Tenemos en estos momentos un concepto que es el de economía circular, del que yo quería hablar, es de la guía que hemos hecho, que vamos a presentar el próximo mes, en el que todo el mundo, la legislación, la academia, la administración, está hablando en este lenguaje ya. Hay un debate claro que es el de la implantación, luego me referiré a ello, y un énfasis en tener recursos prácticos para que las empresas y los destinos puedan actuar. Termino esta parte con dos ideas. Una, la de resiliencia, que esta definición me gusta mucho, como capacidad de un sistema para absorber perturbaciones y reorganizarse a fin de retener esencialmente la misma función, estructura, identidad y retroalimentación. Es decir, que si todo esto nos sirve para que el turismo siga funcionando, nos estamos equivocando de negocio. Nuestra resiliencia, nuestra sostenibilidad tiene que ir orientada a seguir siendo capaces de hacer lo que hacemos con las modificaciones que sea necesario. Y muchos autores dicen, y yo creo que es así, que la idea de sostenibilidad es un tanto esquiva porque no tiene operatividad, y sin embargo la de resiliencia, que está más volcada en responder a problemas, reconocer los problemas, reconocer que esto tiene una parte negativa, pues es un esquema, creo, mejor, ¿no? En esta parte antecedente es que no quería no señalar el que hicimos en el año 2018 un informe sobre economía circular aplicada al turismo, que tuvo muchísimo éxito. Fue uno de los documentos más descargados de nuestra página, porque entonces apenas había documentos sobre este tema. Lo hicimos siendo Isabel Oliver nuestra secretaria de Estado. Bueno, ¿de qué partía este análisis en el que nos hemos metido ahora? De estos antecedentes, esta parte de reflexión teórica. Las cosas que todos saben ustedes, que la Tierra se agota. Esta mañana se dieron aquí muchísimos datos sobre el tema del cambio climático. Hay uno que no me resisto a citar, esto de la sobreexplotación de consumo. El día que la Tierra ha dejado de ser renovable, que cuando empezó a medirse en el 70 era el 23 de diciembre, en el 21 era el 29 de junio, y en España estábamos en el 25 de mayo, hace poco. O sea que esto no está, parece, mejorando mucho, ¿no? Y en este contexto global de un mundo que se agota en muchas cosas, una reflexión a que el turismo no es en esto, sino una parte de ese problema, y una parte, como he dicho al principio, que tenemos que seguir haciendo turismo, que no se me malinterprete, pero somos una parte de los problemas que tiene el planeta. El 8% de las emisiones globales de gases, esta mañana se dieron otras cifras también en este sentido, el que las emisiones de CO2 ligadas al turismo se prevé que aumenten un 25% en el 2030 y una contribución a estas externalidades negativas que suma casi el 72%, nos suma el 72%, la parte de transporte, y con el 21% de los alojamiento, pues nos da una imagen bastante clara de dónde deberíamos intervenir. El turismo, por tanto, no es neutral en los efectos y no es neutral tampoco en el comportamiento de los turistas. Los turistas gastan más agua que los residentes y gastan más agua que cuando ellos están en sus casas cuando van a los destinos. Multiplican por 2 el número de destinos y en estos momentos el 6,8 de los residuos producidos en Europa están ligados al turismo, ¿no? Bueno, estos impactos en el medio ambiente, como hemos dicho, están estudiados. Antes dábamos unas cifras, hemos hecho algunas tablas que dividen pues, cómo impacta en cada sitio, si los impactos son altos, son bajos. Creo que tenemos en una palabra un diagnóstico del que hay un mundo que ha cambiado, que tiene ya problemas, que hay que lidiar con un mundo difícil, en el que es difícil actuar, y que está reconocidos los problemas, tenemos medidos los problemas y por tanto tenemos las áreas de intervención claras, y lo que debemos hacer es entrar en una nueva métrica, como decía al principio, en una nueva forma de hacer las cosas, en el que el producir, usar y tirar no sean lo que hacemos de normal, y en lo que es difícil, y es la tarea que tiene la política pública, que es la del consenso. Esto no va de esfuerzos individuales ni de gente que hace cosas muy meritorias, hay que medir también los impactos de las cosas. Esta mañana cuando escuchábamos hablar las personas que han hablado del agua, que es fascinante lo que se ha hecho, lo que se mide, los mapeadores que están las zonas de problemas, las zonas que no tienen problemas, el alcalde de Benidorm contando la cantidad de residuos que son capaces de reciclar, el agua que almacenan, todo eso, ese conjunto de iniciativas públicas y las muy notables iniciativas individuales, como esta de Alaska que nos contaban, de la barca llena de residuos, de limpiar una costa. Bueno, todo contribuye, pero hay una parte que contribuye más, que es la que nos estructura como comunidad, porque es la que da orden a los esfuerzos públicos, a los esfuerzos de las empresas y a los esfuerzos de las personas. Tenemos en estos momentos una caja de herramientas, que es la economía circular, no es otra cosa. Tenemos los ODS como hoja de ruta de todos, y tenemos la sostenibilidad, estos objetivos claros, ¿no? En estos momentos, para conseguir la circularidad de los recursos, conseguir la reducción de los residuos que emitimos en la naturaleza, que a veces cuando uno lo lee cuesta pensar en otro esquema, porque estás acostumbrado a tener siempre cubos de basura en todas partes. Cuando uno va a un bosque no hay residuos. Las cosas que se caen se pudren, forman parte de la tierra forma parte de los árboles. Lo normal es que no haya residuos, somos nosotros los que generamos residuos. Y mejorar la eficiencia de las empresas, la producción y el consumo, al final nos lleva, decíamos, a una nueva métrica y a un nuevo modelo de producción y de consumo. En economía circular tenemos clarísimo el modelo que debemos seguir teóricamente, pues que hay que rechazar e incrementar el consumo de materias primas. Ahora, esto se ha quedado aquí. Estaba dándole aquí, pero no se daba ahí arriba. Iba por aquí. En economía circular tenemos el esquema claro de cómo funciona, de qué cosas no hay que hacer, y por tanto, teniendo claro el modelo de rechazar, redefinir, reducir, reutilizar y reciclar, cada modelo le pone un número de R's variable, tenemos que ir a un nuevo enfoque, que sea el qué beneficios tiene esto, que tiene ahorros de costes para las empresas. En la guía que hemos hecho hemos detectado que en reducciones del 20% de CO2 y del 10% del consumo de agua, con iniciativas muy moderadas. El beneficio reputacional, porque cada vez más los buscadores, etcétera, se refieren a esto como algo positivo y ordenan sus ofertas señalando a quienes trabajan en esta línea, y el beneficio social. Tenemos de mano también, esta mañana se ha hecho, por cierto, mis felicitaciones al gobierno, porque la legislación balear me ha parecido sorprendentemente amplia y bien tirada. Tenemos iniciativas legislativas, tenemos políticas públicas como el componente 12 y el componente 14 del plan de resiliencia y nuestra contribución aquí, en esto que haremos en el mes de mayo, es hacer una serie de guías y manuales que permitan a las empresas y a las administraciones aplicar estas cosas. Dos de las personas que nos acompañan hoy aquí, los hoteles y el Gobierno de Baleares, la Fundación Impulsa, son de las personas que hemos entrevistado y en las que nos hemos inspirado para hacer esta guía de aplicación, que lo que fundamentalmente persigue son tres cosas: el hacer una guía de aplicación para el sector turístico que sea fácil de manejar, el tener una actualización del estado de la cuestión desde el punto de vista teórico y doctrinal para que quede bien enmarcada, y luego estas buenas prácticas para inspirar comportamientos, que hemos seleccionado 30 buenas prácticas, y unos materiales y unos manuales y materiales didácticos para la aplicación tanto en los destinos como en las pymes turísticas. Bueno, pues esto es nuestra contribución, que está dirigida a esto que decía al principio. Necesitamos en una nueva época tener nuevas métricas. Las nuevas métricas suponen un nuevo orden de preferencias sociales que tiene que articularse forzosamente a través de políticas públicas. El propósito de la posibilidad de generar un cambio siempre viene de cambiar los comportamientos de la gente, ¿no? Y para eso tenemos que ser capaces de lanzar algo que impacte en las creencias de la gente. Las creencias sobre lo que se debe hacer lleven a que se cambien los valores, y los valores lleven a que se cambien los comportamientos. Diciendo solo que la gente ahorre, diciendo solo que la gente no contamine o que no haga determinadas cosas, no será suficiente si no logramos que todo el mundo asuma esa concepción, ese modelo de dónde están los problemas, de que eso debe interiorizarse como algo propio de las empresas, que forme parte de su agenda y, por supuesto, algo propio de los gobiernos, como esta mañana hemos visto aquí en muchísimos casos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much there, Enrique. I think this guide will be most welcome, because we know that the companies and the destinations, as we mentioned before, they really need tools that they can apply in the everyday life. And I also think that your example and the model of Segitur building this competition between companies and destinations is also most welcome, because we know that this is one of the main challenges, how to be able to collaborate. And then we leave, as usual, the questions for the last minutes of the roundtable. And now, Dr. Antonio Riera, Impulsa Foundation and University of the Balearic Islands, please, the floor is yours.
Pues muchas gracias, José María, y buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Es un placer participar esta tarde de este Mallorca Sustainable Summit y compartir con todos ustedes la apuesta que la Fundación Impulsa Baleares viene haciendo desde hace ya varios años en torno a lo que denominamos hoy el paradigma de la economía circular. Así que vaya de entrada mi agradecimiento al Consejo Insular de Mallorca, a su presidenta, que nos acompaña esta tarde, y por supuesto también a la Fundación Mallorca Turismo y a la Organización Mundial del Turismo también. Empezamos, si les parece, y lo hacemos recordando fundamentalmente que hoy me dan la oportunidad de hacer aquello que seguramente me gusta más, que es poder acercarme a los actores de esa cadena de valor global que llamamos, a ese poliedro que llamamos turismo, un poliedro que lógicamente tiene muchísimas caras y que seguramente coincidirán conmigo que se encuentra en un momento especial que tal vez podríamos resumir abusando de una palabra que es la palabra disruptivo, o de otra palabra que seguramente es también muy utilizada estos días, que es un momento altamente complejo. Sea como sea, en el marco de esa complejidad, estoy convencido de que el turismo se encuentra, al igual que muchos otros ámbitos, en un claro momento de transición. Podríamos hablar de transición ecológica, de transición energética, por supuesto también de transición tecnológica, digital, pero también, insisto, de transición turística. Y en este contexto, insisto, disruptivo, complejo, me atrevería a formular una pregunta a ese auditorio de esta tarde. La pregunta es una gran pregunta, es una pregunta para, a mi modo de ver, altamente relevante, y es la siguiente. ¿Es posible a día de hoy dar con una nueva apuesta de desarrollo que sea ganadora y que venga una vez más de la mano del turismo? Es una pregunta relevante porque, como bien saben ustedes, no solo Baleares, sino otras muchas regiones de España, lo comentaba ahora precisamente Enrique, bueno, pues han desarrollado parte de su potencial económico y social de la mano precisamente del turismo. Y la pregunta es, en este momento disruptivo y complejo, si podemos aprovechar esas grandes oportunidades que abre este tiempo nuevo, fundamentalmente en materia tecnológica, para de nuevo dar un nuevo impulso al desarrollo económico de la mano precisamente del turismo y abrir también al mismo tiempo nuevas ventanas de prosperidad. Antes de conocer su valoración, su respuesta, les anticipo que la mía es claramente positiva. La respuesta, a mi modo de ver, es sí. Es verdad que no es un sí sin más, es un sí condicional. Es un sí condicional fundamentalmente a la capacidad que tengan los actores que forman parte de ese poliedro de activar capacidades de reformulación estratégica. Estoy convencido que en estos momentos, e incluso en regiones tan maduras como la de Baleares, que lleva ya muchísimos años desarrollando el turismo, es posible, insisto, hacer una nueva apuesta de desarrollo de la mano del turismo siempre y cuando afrontemos un escenario de reformulación estratégica. Para demostrar que esa reformulación es necesaria, me van a permitir que utilice unos últimos resultados que hemos elaborado desde la Fundación Impulsa Balears, que tienen que ver con el cálculo de un índice de competitividad turística que permite aproximar lo que denominamos el potencial turístico, en este caso del archipiélago balear. A decir verdad, la metodología que voy a enseñarles es la misma que utiliza el World Economic Forum para medir la competitividad turística de los distintos países, y en nuestro caso lo aplicaremos a las regiones que entendemos son competidoras del archipiélago. En concreto vamos a tomar medición sobre 12 pilares de la competitividad turística y muy particularmente los aplicaremos sobre un total de 315 regiones que entendemos son las competidoras de Baleares en este caso. Se trata de regiones muchas de las cuales forman parte de la Unión Europea y otras, lógicamente, de otros países con los que también compartimos en algún momento del año flujos turísticos. Desde esa perspectiva vamos a medir cada uno de esos 12 pilares sobre la base de 89 indicadores homogéneos para esas 315 regiones y los resultados de estos índices nos van a permitir calibrar nuestro potencial turístico, esto es, la capacidad que tiene una región, en este caso Baleares, para desarrollarse de la mano del turismo. ¿Tenemos capacidad para desarrollarnos de la mano del turismo? ¿Sí o no? ¿Alta, baja, media? Y al mismo tiempo, y de vuelta, la capacidad de ese conglomerado de actividad y de conocimiento para contribuir precisamente a la prosperidad de la región que alberga esas actividades turísticas. Para ello, vamos a medir aspectos relacionados con el entorno regional de cada una de esas regiones. Vamos, por supuesto, a revisar cuestiones relacionadas con la política y los condicionantes turísticos. Por supuesto, también analizaremos cuestiones mucho más habituales en las que habitualmente ponemos siempre el foco, que son las de infraestructuras, y de instalaciones, y por supuesto ya pues aquellos recursos que consideramos recursos de base y que tienen que ver fundamentalmente con el medio ambiente y también con el patrimonio cultural de esos destinos. Con todo ello, permítanme que de una forma muy resumida les plantee cuáles son las dos conclusiones que se desprenden en el caso de Baleares de esta actualización del índice de competitividad turística que hemos elaborado estos días. La primera conclusión, muy importante, es que Baleares tiene un elevado potencial turístico. Tanto es así que si buscáramos y midiéramos ese potencial turístico de Baleares frente a ese set competitivo, nos daríamos cuenta precisamente que Baleares en un ranking de competitividad ocupa la sexta posición de este ranking de 315 regiones. Por lo tanto, se encuentra precisamente en el tramo más alto de mayor competitividad turística. Fíjense que la primera comunidad autónoma es España, española, ocupa el primer puesto, es Andalucía, seguido de Cataluña, Costa Azul, Valencia, Ginebra, después vendría ya Baleares, seguido muy cerquita de Canarias, que la verdad es que ha hecho un recorrido interesante estos últimos 3 años, País Vasco, fíjense, Viena y Berlín cerraría el top 10 de esa clasificación de potencial turístico. Al mismo tiempo, permítanme que, siendo conscientes de ese gran potencial turístico, permítanme señalar otra de las conclusiones importantes. La siguiente conclusión tiene que ver fundamentalmente en que ese potencial turístico, como bien está marcado en este mapa con un color naranja intenso, en la Fundación Impulsa Baleares el naranja es el color preferido, es el corporativo, pero también es el preferido. Pero permítanme desvelarles que detrás de esa muy buena posición, detrás de ese elevado potencial turístico, se esconde una elevada diversidad de puntuaciones competitivas en cada uno de esos 12 pilares que les comentaba. Fíjense, por ejemplo, que obtenemos grandes puntuaciones en algunos de los pilares, puntuaciones muy altas, por ejemplo, en materia de infraestructura e instalaciones, no solo por la calidad, sino también por la cantidad de infraestructuras y instalaciones que desde el ámbito público, pero también desde el ámbito privado atesoramos. Pero fíjense, por ejemplo, que en algunos de los pilares tenemos posiciones realmente muy bajas o bajas. Por lo tanto, es preciso, es muy necesario aprovechar ese potencial turístico que tenemos, pero al mismo tiempo es inequívoca la necesidad de realinear esos pilares y de reequilibrar ese set de puntuaciones. Por lo tanto, ahí tenemos un trabajo muy interesante, muy arduo que tenemos que hacer y que sin lugar a duda nos está diciendo reformúlense. Esta es la primera conclusión. Si aceptamos esto como válido, la siguiente pregunta que tendríamos que hacernos es ¿y cómo nos reformulamos? Entonces, y por suerte, lo comentaba muy bien Enrique, lo he visto muy bien también esta mañana en las sesiones de las que he tenido la oportunidad de seguir, que lógicamente tenemos ahí una caja de herramientas, decía Enrique, pero en el fondo tenemos ahí una vía de progreso, como nos gusta llamarla también a la Fundación Impulsa Balears, en materia de economía circular. Estamos convencidos que la economía circular abre precisamente el camino para facilitar esa reformulación estratégica del turismo, no solo en Baleares, sino en otros muchos destinos que también atesoran, como Baleares, un elevado potencial turístico y que, por algún motivo, también presentan algunas disparidades en materia de puntuaciones que les impiden en estos momentos traducir madurez por sofisticación. Y ahí está el reto. Cada vez debemos ser un destino menos maduro. Fíjense que el alcalde hoy de Benidorm se refería a Benidorm como un destino maduro, un destino con mucha experiencia, un destino no. Bueno, pues en realidad lo que hay que conseguir es que esos destinos sean cada vez más sofisticados. Y para ello, insisto, bueno, pues estoy convencido que aprovechar ese potencial turístico obliga necesariamente a apostar y a aprovechar esa vía de progreso que es la economía circular. Fundamentalmente por varias razones, pero una y muy importante, porque la reformulación desde la economía circular permite, si me lo permiten, dos grandes cuestiones. La primera, añadir mayor valor. Eso es fundamental. Lo hace fundamentalmente la economía circular porque es una gran aliada de la tecnología y por lo tanto permite alargar la vida útil, lo hemos visto también esta mañana, de los materiales y de los recursos que utilizamos en esas cadenas de producción, pero fundamentalmente nos permiten optimizar procesos y por lo tanto desde esa perspectiva estimular la eficiencia y también la innovación. La segunda cuestión importante en ese tránsito hacia un sistema turístico circular, en un intento de reformular y equilibrar esos pilares, tiene que ver precisamente porque la economía circular lo que permite es solucionar de una vez por todas esa advertida insostenibilidad del modelo lineal. Por lo tanto, fíjense, tenemos un fantástico aliado, se llama economía circular, es un aliado imprescindible sobre el que hoy se están desarrollando ya buenas prácticas, buenas guías y que al mismo tiempo encontramos ya elementos y, insisto, acciones muy tangibles que nos hace pensar que ese paradigma no solo es un paradigma teórico, no solo es un paradigma nuevo, sino que es un paradigma que ya está aterrizando. Estoy convencido yo también de que en los próximos 5 años la mayor parte de las empresas deberá incorporar criterios y pautas circulares en su línea de actuación. Desde esa perspectiva y tomando, por lo tanto, como centro la economía circular, entendiendo que esta es la respuesta al cómo nos reformulamos, permítanme que les diga que si lo hiciéramos desde la economía circular, no como una excusa, no como una moda, sino realmente como el vehículo que escogemos para transitar desde un turismo lineal a un turismo circular, entonces conseguiríamos 3 cosas. Le daríamos al pedal de la eficiencia y de la innovación, algo fundamental, no solo en el archipiélago, sino para cualquier región que aspira a mayores dosis de competitividad y por lo tanto a mayores niveles de prosperidad. La segunda y muy importante, incorporaríamos la sostenibilidad como una palanca verdadera de gestión y de estrategia turística, cosa que hasta la fecha, por varios motivos, no hemos hecho al 100%. Y la tercera, y no menos importante, es que nos abre las vías a un escenario completamente nuevo. Es un escenario que nosotros denominamos de reinterpretación del liderazgo, de reposicionamiento competitivo, que en realidad lo que hace es abrir las puertas a un nuevo turismo, un turismo que denominamos turismo regenerativo. Entonces me van a permitir que me pare un momento en esa definición de turismo regenerativo, lo haré de forma muy breve, pero permítanme que la ilustre de la siguiente forma. Si hoy analizáramos lo que entendemos por turismo, la verdad es que la mayor parte de nosotros apelaríamos al turismo seguramente pensando en hotelería o en el mejor de los casos hablando de sector turístico. Yo les invito hoy a que dejen esa visión no sistémica del turismo y que abran una visión mucho más amplia, mucho más holística, hablando de sistema turístico. Un sistema turístico es un entramado muy complejo y muy adaptativo que lo permite es tener en cuenta no únicamente cuestiones de mercado que habitualmente nos preocupan y mucho, no únicamente cuestiones de mercado laboral, que a veces nos preocupan y mucho, sino cuestiones también muy relacionadas, insisto, con infraestructuras, con gobernanza y, por supuesto, con tecnología y con tantos y tantos otros aspectos, por ejemplo, aspectos ambientales y culturales. Por lo tanto, yo les invito, si en realidad quieren reformularse, a ampliar esa visión sistémica de lo que hoy denominamos turismo y dejemos de hablar de sector turístico, hablemos de sistema turístico. Al mismo tiempo, les invito a hacer otro ejercicio y es, lógicamente, hoy todos somos conscientes de que el turismo entendido tal y como lo entendemos en el marco de un sistema lineal es lógicamente causante de muchos impactos, tiene una elevada demanda de materiales y de recursos y hace muchísimos impactos negativos. Y les invito precisamente a conseguir que nuestros impactos disminuyan. Bueno, pues si hoy tuviéramos que ubicar a Baleares en un rectángulo, en un cuadrado de este gráfico, lo situaríamos seguramente en este punto 0. Y el punto deseado sería precisamente este punto 4. Bueno, la pregunta relevante es, ¿se puede saltar del punto 0 al punto 4? Y la respuesta es sí, se puede saltar con la economía circular. Porque la economía circular no te lleva al punto 4, pero te ahorra muchas paradas en el metro. Lo verán ahora, porque a decir verdad, la economía circular no solo aspira, como decíamos esta mañana en la mesa 3, a reducir residuos, o ni siquiera a tener, como también se comentaba en la mesa 2, algún término de ser neutro en carbono. No, hay que ser mucho más ambiciosos que todo esto. Y la verdad es que ser neutros en carbono, reducir el número de residuos, esto le permiten conceptos ya muy manoseados de turismo verde, de turismo sostenible. Bueno, pues la verdad es que se puede ir más allá del ecoturismo, que persigue únicamente minimizar esos impactos. Se puede ir más allá de lo que denominamos turismo sostenible y, por lo tanto, garantizar algo más que no un impacto únicamente neutro. Se puede incluso llegar a un turismo restaurador, es decir, que repara las externalidades negativas que genera ese turismo. Pero es más, se puede aspirar, y ahí estaría el punto 4 de regenerativo, se puede aspirar incluso a reparar las externalidades acumuladas durante tantos años de desarrollo y, sobre todo, algo fundamental, coevolucionar con otros sistemas, con el sistema ecológico, pero también con el sistema cultural y con el sistema social. Y, por lo tanto, romper ahí muchas barreras entre el sistema turístico y otros sistemas con los que convive. Convencido de que esto es así, desde la Fundación Impulsa Baleares hemos empezado a poner ya sobre las mesas de nuestros actores de esa cadena de valor turística, fundamentalmente sobre la hotelería, porque entendemos que puede jugar un rol muy importante, no solo de actor, porque es un segmento de esa cadena muy relevante, no solo en términos de peso, sino también de generación de valor, pero sobre todo nos interesa porque creemos que puede jugar de laboratorio. Y por lo tanto, cogiendo este set tan concreto de hotelería, aplicando esa idea de potencial turístico que queremos aprovechar, bueno, pues lo que hemos hecho fundamentalmente ha sido desarrollar toda una serie de herramientas que les permita a ese sector generar muchísimo más valor. Conscientes de que si lo consiguen, esos efectos multiplicadores se extenderán a lo largo de toda la cadena de valor y, por supuesto, llevarán cambios asociados en el conjunto del sistema turístico. Desde esa perspectiva, bueno, pues fundamentalmente lo que hemos hecho ha sido desarrollar un planteamiento estratégico que gira en torno a esa idea de reformulación, encontrar el mejor camino para reformularnos, voy cerrando, y desde esa perspectiva, no sé cómo estará el traductor, pero bueno, espero que no esté tan estresado como yo. Pobrecito. Sea como sea, y perdón la broma, sea como sea, encontrado un poco el camino de esa reformulación. Bueno, pues fundamentalmente lo que hemos planteado ha sido dos cosas. La primera, y muy importante, bueno, veamos cómo podemos optimizar esos procesos y esos rediseños que se hacen en el seno de un hotel. Ahí la directora de la Unidad de Inteligencia Económica, Aina Ripoll, que también me acompaña esta tarde, decíamos que el ejercicio que hemos hecho con algunas cadenas hoteleras que forman parte de nuestro patronato ha sido coger hoteles suyos y ponerlos sobre una mesa de quirófano en un intento de entender qué procesos llevan a cabo, pero sobre todo qué procesos son susceptibles de ser circulares. Y por lo tanto ahí les debo reconocer que hemos identificado más de 175 activos y procesos que son susceptibles de ser circulares en un hotel. Desde esa perspectiva, bueno, el siguiente paso ha sido, bueno, pues vamos a ver cómo podemos activar de forma cruzada y simultánea determinadas palancas de eficiencia, de innovación, de formación, de capital humano, para que esos procesos y servicios devengan efectivamente circulares, porque lógicamente no basta en identificar, después es necesario lógicamente llevar a cabo la operación completa. Para esto hemos desarrollado pues lo que es un marco estratégico, ¿de acuerdo? La idea fundamental de poder contestar a la pregunta cómo aplica la circularidad al sector hotelero, y por esto lo hemos hecho fundamentalmente desde una visión muy estratégica que ha dado pie a ahora lo verán, a un planteamiento estratégico y a una herramienta de autodiagnóstico que responde al nombre de iCirco. Esta herramienta está totalmente disponible a día de hoy en nuestra plataforma y cualquier hotel de Baleares, pequeño, grande, mediano, urbano, de sol y playa, cualquiera, pero también cualquier hotel de España puede, si quiere, hacerse un test de autodiagnóstico circular y saber cuán circular es en sus procesos y cuánta distancia le queda para alcanzar al mejor, a esa cadena hotelera que hemos identificado como la cadena cadena que en estos momentos está aplicando las mejores prácticas circulares y sobre todo compararlo con un benchmark que incluye fundamentalmente el comportamiento de 14 cadenas hoteleras que en Baleares representa una de cada 4 camas. Por lo tanto, desde esa perspectiva, bueno, pues se mide su progreso circular desde los recursos que pone a disposición y que tiene disponibles para hacer ese tránsito, desde los procesos internos, sus aprovisionamientos, sus cadenas de prestación de servicios y algo muy importante, su dotación de activos y finalmente la relación con sus principales stakeholders. Lo decía también Enrique y se ha dicho esta mañana, esto no se puede hacer en solitario, se necesita de los trabajadores, se necesita de los clientes y se necesita, por supuesto, también de los accionistas. Con todo ello, bueno, pues a partir de ahí pues se puede ir midiendo ese progreso circular sobre la base de 9 vectores que tienen que ver con innovación, inversión, dotación de activos, etcétera, y obtener una puntuación. Todo eso está enmarcado en un marco estratégico que se ha elaborado en colaboración, como les digo, con 14 cadenas hoteleras que forman parte de nuestro patronato y también, y debo reconocerlo y agradecerlo, también hoy aquí públicamente, con la guía y el apoyo de la Organización Mundial del Turismo. Y todo ello, bueno, pues hoy está prácticamente listo para ser ya ejecutado sobre las mesas de tomas de decisiones de los hoteleros, pero también es verdad que, como les digo, hay que tener visiones mucho más sistémicas y acabamos de lanzar justo hace unos meses un movimiento regenerativo para el futuro de Baleares, responde al nombre de REN y bueno, en estos momentos pues ya se está elaborando lo que sería el marco operativo y el marco estratégico para que ese movimiento empiece a andar y consigamos precisamente eso que hoy yo planteaba como una necesidad, pero que en el fondo no es más que un deseo, y es que la economía de Baleares consiga aprovechar ese potencial turístico y lo haga de tal forma que les permita dar un paso más hacia ese anhelo que tenemos todos de seguir desarrollándonos económica, social, pero también ambientalmente de la mano del turismo. Y nada más, gracias.
Thank you very much, Tony. I think the translator should be pretty stressed, probably. I would be, as I was stressed at the beginning because we were running late. Now I am not anymore, but I will leave some questions for the debate because I think you pointed out you gave me more questions than answers, by the way, but we have to debate that later. But for the debate, in case we have time for it, I think it was important that you pointed out this. The question is the tourism the answer? I think this is something we have to reflect. How can we change this paradigm of tourism? And if we are ready for that, this is probably one of my main worries. And also that you mentioned, I think is an important reflection too, maybe for the debate too, is that we are not using, you mentioned still, you are not using sustainability or circular economy as a real tool to be part of our sustainability, to integrate it, to leverage sustainability. And I think this plus the social aspect, how you said it again, like Enrique or like myself, where is the people? So there was this social aspect of the circular economy, because without that, probably we will not be able to go to this, like you mentioned, from the 0 to 4 is quite challenging. And I think it's good. You put a lot of passion, as I wanted to have after lunch, which is very good.
Thanks.
With after lunch without coffee is not a good. We need a bit of passion. So thank you very much. And now I welcome Jaume Ordinas from Garden Hotels, and then give us our point of view. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Gracias. Bueno, agradecimientos a la organización por hacer este evento en Mallorca y evento tan importante. Pero la verdad es que me gustaría ver todas estas sillas llenas, entonces cuando será también más importante. Creo que aún falta mucho, hablamos, pero la realidad es que hay sillas vacías. Dicho esto, vengo a contar un poco, a salir de la teórica para pasar un poco a la práctica. Me hubiera gustado muchísimo, Mando, por favor. Gracias. Me hubiera gustado muchísimo poder ver la película entera, pero como no tenemos tiempo, es una película que empezó hace 5 o 6 años, por lo tanto ya no es una teoría. Vamos a ver una parte de estos proyectos de la película que es Garden Not Common, y vamos a ver una pequeña parte de esta película, que como os digo empezó hace 5 años.
Bueno, aquest projecte neix perquè la cadena hotelera de Garda no té apostant pels productes de quilòmetre zero i ecològics, que són sostenibles i saludables per als nostres clients. Evidentment, hi ha una feina de formació en el nostre personal de cuina, concretament i de menjador, perquè tots aquests restes de cuina d'hotel s'han de posar dins contenedors, els quals aquests contenedors transportant la matèria orgànica en aquesta àrea de compostatge que ara veurem. Com podeu veure, això són les restes de cuina d'hotel. Aquests restes de cuina d'hotel és importantíssim que venguin els impropis. Quan xerram de restes de cuina a un hotel, podem xerrar que nosaltres, els nostres clients, de mitja, diari, generen 0,67 quilos persona a dia. Un hotel de 225 habitacions podríem anar a 600-700 quilos diaris de restes de cuina d'hotel. Després, aquestes restes de cuina, el que fem és el procés de compostatge. Les restes de cuina d'hotel que duim aquí, després fem el procés de compost. Què és el procés de compost? El procés de compost és en les restes de poda dels hotels, se passa per la trituradora, queda capolat i això nosaltres li veiem estructurant. Se mescla amb aquestes restes de cuina amb una proporció d'un 50%, més o manco, i llavors se barreja amb una màquina que es diu la voltatjadora i s'acumula en piles. I depenent del procés, de la temperatura, de la humitat, la naturalesa fa aquest procés de compost. Com més temps passa, més compost madur tenim i és més apte per a l'agricultura. Aquest compost, com hem vist, no el tratam com a residu, sinó el tratam com a recurs. Generam aquest compost i aquest compost el tornam a la terra tan necessitada de fertilitat. I la terra fèrtil generam unes bones verdures i hortalisses ecològiques, que aquestes són les que nosaltres tornam en el nostre hotel i donem als nostres clients perquè siguin sostenibles i saludables.
Dos cosas importantes a recalcar aquí. Habéis visto la gente que estaba en el vídeo. Estos son todos los jefes de departamento de toda la cadena hotelera que tenemos. ¿Por qué? Porque son actores y piezas claves para que realmente esto surja efecto. Esto es un tema. Y el segundo tema muy importante es que gracias a estas iniciativas y colaboración sinérgicas, en este caso con el país, hemos sido capaces de generar un biocorner en un hotel de 4 estrellas en el cual hay un rincón exclusivo de productos kilómetro cero y productos ecológicos. Que yo y que yo sepa, es la única cadena que lo ha conseguido. ¿Pero por qué? Porque hemos saltado la barrera de hacer un acuerdo de colaboración con el país en que los dos salimos ganando. Bueno, como os he dicho, la película empezamos hace 5 años, este proyecto que habéis visto hace 5 o 6 años que empezamos. Tenemos otros proyectos, pero como no tenemos tiempo, la organización nos limita, pues os invito a ver la película, concretamente en la página web de Garden No Common, ahí donde veréis todas nuestras iniciativas de lo que estamos haciendo estos últimos años. Bueno, hoy os voy a contar un secreto que nunca antes habíamos contado. Esto es el secreto de Garden. Primero lo hacemos y después lo comunicamos. Entonces, La teórica viene después. Acostumbrados hasta la fecha a que primero hay teórica y después hay práctica, pues nosotros el secreto es primero hacemos y después comunicamos. Algunos datos significativos de lo que ha sido una temporada normal 2019, podemos hablar de más de 690.000 kilos de residuos orgánicos reaprovechados para compost, más de 518.000 de compost ecológico, más de 95.000 kilos comprados de kilómetro cero producto balear, más de 23.000 productos de aquí comprados en la cadena y la eliminación de más de 188.000 botellas de plástico de alminis sustituidas por dispensadores de esto que hace años que a día de hoy la cadena ya los tiene en todos. Bueno, evidentemente nos es muy grato y estamos muy contentos y agradecidos que estas acciones a la práctica entonces tienen sus reconocimientos. Empezamos premios de Líder Turismo 2017 por la Agencia de Turismo de Baleares, un proyecto concretamente que habéis visto, RTIL 2018, premios Innovantia, mejor galardón del proyecto de turismo sostenible en el turismo innovación Aguas 2021 y en especial felicidad a la medalla de oro al señor Ramis, propietario, fundador, presidente del Grupo Garden, por su dedicación al turismo y su apuesta a la economía circular. Por lo tanto, y vosotros os preguntaréis, ¿y qué hace una cadena hotelera pequeña, familiar, haciendo proyectos desde hace más de 7 años? Decide emprender proyectos sostenibles. Pues porque nos preguntamos cómo y hacia dónde queríamos liderar el turismo sostenible. Por esto, ¿vale? Empezamos. Bueno, y ya que hoy hablamos de el título de esta cumbre es liderar la transformación, vamos a hacer un inciso, vamos a dar nuestro punto de vista de cómo vemos estas dos palabras, liderar y transformar. ¿Vale? Entonces, ¿qué es liderar para Garden Hotels? Liderar es servir, no nos equivoquemos, liderar es servir. Estamos para ayudar, para dar satisfacción, hablamos de felicidad, pero hablamos en todos los aspectos, liderar es servir. ¿Vale? ¿Pero para qué? Para traducirlo en realidades. Para traducirlo en realidades. Liderar es responder a qué nos une y por qué estamos aquí, por qué estamos hoy aquí. Y después, la función del liderazgo no es generar ni producir más líderes, no es producir, más seguidores, es producir más líderes, que son los que lo van a mover. ¿Y quién lo va a mover? ¿Quién creéis que lo va a mover? ¿Quién? ¿La inteligencia artificial? ¿Los datos? No nos equivoquemos. Lo vamos a mover nosotros, las personas, los que estamos aquí lo vamos a mover. Esto es lo que vamos a mover nosotros. Todo lo demás es suplementario y nos va a ayudar, pero lo que nos va a mover es las personas. Por lo tanto, la pregunta no es el qué. Aquí nos preguntamos es el quién, las personas, los que estamos aquí. Entonces, me gustaría leer un fragmento que para mí es espectacular, de Viktor Frankl, que dice, enfocado a la transformación, el ser humano no está totalmente condicionado y determinado, sino que es el quien determina si ha de entregarse a las situaciones o hacer frente a ellas. En otras palabras, el ser humano no se limita a existir, sino que siempre decide cuál será su existencia y lo que será al minuto siguiente. Cada uno de nosotros decide. Bueno, ya hablamos de transformación. ¿Qué necesitamos para hacer una transformación? Entiendo, actitud, querer, conocimiento, saber o aprender, habilidad, poder y hacer. Y después, ¿veis el cohete? Lo más importante es el cohete. Es lo que nos elevará, nos impulsará, nos irá a ir a una velocidad de crucero para llegar donde queremos. No es a la luna el cohete, es para ir a la transformación. No queremos transformación, pues démelo cohete. ¿Por qué? Porque si siempre hacemos lo mismo, evidentemente el resultado siempre será el mismo. Si nosotros cambiamos, todo cambia. Y abrir nuevos caminos, como la nueva economía circular de todo lo que estamos hablando aquí, si queremos abrir nuevos caminos, no esperamos a que los demás abran camino y nosotros ir detrás. Esto es lo fácil. Entonces, igual que los problemas, no esperemos que los demás nos arreglen los problemas. Cada uno tiene que poner de su parte para poder arreglar sus problemas. Y si lo piensas, a veces los arreglas. Pero lo difícil es pensarlos. Bueno, ¿por qué está Garden hoy aquí? Pues yo creo por esto, porque es ejemplo de cambios, transformación y de realidades. Entonces, si hemos hablado de liderar la transformación, para Garden, ¿qué es? La pregunta es, entonces, ¿qué es liderar la transformación?
what does it mean
¿Qué
to be
es?
a leader in transformation? What is it? What does it mean to be
Es
a
muy
leader
fácil.
here? You know what it is? It's
Y es la
easy.
capacidad
It is the
de hacer.
capacity to do, to be
Repito,
active.
es
I
la
repeat,
capacidad
it is the
de hacer.
capacity to do,
Esto es la
to
habilidad
get
de
going, to
transformación.
be active. That is leadership.
¿Y cómo podemos
And
conseguirlo?
how can we achieve
Evidentemente,
this?
cogemos el Google Maps y
Of
decimos,
course,
estoy
we
aquí,
take
quiero ir
Google
aquí.
Maps and
Una
we put
estrategia.
a
¿Por qué? Porque una
strategy
buena
out. We want to
estrategia para
get from
involucrar a
here
todas las
to
partes
here.
implicadas,
So the
obtener los objetivos
strategy will be
marcados.
here,
Como decía
showing
Séneca,
us how to get to our
ningún viento es
objectives, how to
favorable
achieve
si no
this.
sabemos a qué puerto vamos.
So it will
¿No
be
ves al viento, al barco,
no
hacia dónde,
wind
qué
will
dirección
ever
va?
be favorable if we don't know which
Evidentemente, hoy tenemos la gran
harbor we are
suerte,
aiming for.
como hemos dicho en
So we
diferentes
want to know where
ponencias,
we want to
y
go to.
además
We
lo hemos,
already
que
had
tenemos
it
los
in
datos de la
various different
tecnología
presentations
para
today.
poder
We
analizar,
already have technological data
gestionar,
ahead. We have
concretar,
things we
tomar
can able to
decisiones.
manage.
¿Para
We can
qué?
take decisions.
Para que
And
cojamos
what
el
for?
viento bueno,
Because
el
we want
viento
to
bueno
have the
favorable, que nos
favorable
lleve al
wind that
barco
will
hacia donde
take
nosotros
our
queramos más
ship
rápido.
to
Entonces
our
lo tenemos,
objectives
también
in a
aprovechémoslo.
faster
Lo que no se mide no
way,
existe,
at a
totalmente de
faster
acuerdo.
space.
Pero lo
So,
tenemos.
but of course we know that without
Bueno,
measuring,
entonces,
we
hablando
don't,
de
we
estrategia,
don't have change, but we have
¿por qué
these
nos
dates,
certificamos?
data.
Nos
So
necesitamos
when we
porque
talk
nos
about the
obliga a
data,
tener
we
una
need
estrategia
it
con unos
because we
objetivos
need it
claros,
in order to
hacer
be
un
able to have a
seguimiento,
clear
auditorías
strategy
para
for our
cumplirlos,
clear
además de
objectives in
ofrecer
order to be able to
transparencia,
achieve them. We
rigor,
have to really
confianza
be
y velocidad.
transparent.
¿A
We have to
quién?
be
A
strict.
nuestros
We
grupos de
have to
interés.
trust
¿Vale? No
each
nos
other
certificamos
in
por ser la
our
primera
interest
cadena
groups.
hotelera nacional e
So I
internacional en
cannot just
tenerlo.
only
No, porque ya lo
leave
hemos
it
hecho hace
and
5
saying, yes,
años.
we are the
Pero esto
first
nos ayuda también. Esto nos ayuda a ir
hotel
donde
chain
queremos ir.
who went for the path
Bueno,
towards sustainability,
criterios de
but that's not
estrategia
enough.
circular.
So
Voy a pasar
let's
muy
talk
rápido,
about the
pero toda economía circular
criteria
debe hacer un
about
enfoque integral que considere
or
todas
how
las
to achieve a
potenciales
good
áreas de acción en las
strategy.
etapas del
So it's
proceso de
about
mejora
the
continua
objectives. We have
concretamente.
to really
Están ahí.
look at the
Es
various
igual. Lo
different
importante, ¿sabéis qué
steps
es?
in the
Que el que está
process.
arriba, el que
So,
marca la política
what
de
is
empresa,
all
el
above
propietario, el
everything,
consejo
what
de dirección,
what
el
means
CEO,
the
este es el que tiene
the
que apoyar,
owner,
tiene que estar,
the
tiene que
leader,
liderar, tiene que
the
empujar a que esto se lleve a cabo. Porque
entrepreneur.
si no, no nos
They are the ones
engañemos.
who have
Se
to
quedará
really
ahí,
be
se quedará.
pushing it,
Aunque
going
yo
forward
quiera,
for it.
si no tengo el soporte de
But
arriba,
if I don't
señores,
have this
esto se quedará en el
support
cajón y
from
que se
above,
quedará
from the
estancado.
leaders, then
Bueno, me
it will
gustaría
all remain
compartir
in
con
the
vosotros
box and
algunas
nothing will ever
reflexiones. Como
happen.
habéis
So
visto,
let's have a look at
yo
other
la teoría
reflections. We have seen
me la paso un poco
theory.
porque estoy cansado de teoría, pero yo digo que nuestras acciones son las que determinan el mensaje. Digo, es más importante mostrar que demostrar. Digo, el saber no implica hacer. También decimos, si algo nos preocupa, nos tenemos que ocupar. Y para finalizar decimos, no hay fracasos, hay aprendizajes. Dicho esto, y como aquí hay grupos de interés importantes, en el cual creo que es el momento para también hacer peticiones y escribir la carta a los Reyes Magos, no voy a dejar de obviarlo y a proponerlo. ¿A quiénes grupos de interés? A organismos públicos. ¿Qué pedimos? Ayudas de soporte económicas, administrativas y burocráticas para crear un marco normativo ágil y facilitador, remarcado en negrita, que nos lleve a una economía circular real y auténtica. Las empresas, independientemente del tamaño o sector, tener una visión, decisión y estrategia de medio y largo plazo, no cortoplacistas, en la implantación de la circularidad. Ser selectivo a los clientes y recompensar a las empresas implicadas en el proceso de economía circular. ¿A través de qué? De su compra y de su fidelidad. Y al ciudadano de a pie, todos, ser agentes activos de este cambio, colaborando en el destino con su consumo responsable. Para terminar, y conclusiones, proponemos desde Garden Hoteles una unión sin precedentes para dejar a nuestros hijos y nietos un camino ya empezado y así mejorar nuestra tierra, la de todos, siendo una fuente de inspiración para impulsar proyectos de economía circular en todo el mundo. Yo creo que es hora de empezar todos, es decir, empezamos la transformación hacia la economía circular. Y muchísimas gracias.
And with that, I come to an end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jaume. I think you pointed out some very important things like the the key is the people, and also that when you mention first we do, then we communicate, I think is very important in this kind of meetings. We have a lot of knowledge already. There's plenty of knowledge inside here, but we need a lot of benchmarking, a lot of inspiration, a lot of practical models. So thanks a lot. And now we pass to our international side, finally. Thank you very much for being here, Elif Balsi, who is from the Agency of Tourism Promotion and Development from Turkey. So thanks a lot, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, distinguished participants. It's a great pleasure to be able to address you today about our practice. And we call it the grand transformation of tourism industry and destinations in Turkey. What we have been doing, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, together with the University of Cappadocia, prepared a master plan in 2019, and sustainability was one of the main pillars together with this approach. And in 2021, we prepared a Turkey's Sustainability Atlas, again, collecting all the tourism-related, direct, indirect, and not related values, elements and activities of the entire country, how we can put the sustainability roadmap, the background, history, and communication on the table. And we come to a stage that we need to create strategy, we need to develop a strategy and prepare an action plan. And it consists of two major elements: the visibility. Of course, we are a destination and we need to promote our destination with different aspects, and green communication is important too. But also we need to obey the international standards when we are calling ourselves as green. And as of 2022, we started the new year with a new message and news, which is the Green Tourism Scheme of Turkey, announced in collaboration with GSTC, which is the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. I'm pretty sure that many people here or everybody here knows about the GSTC. So we decided to cooperate with them for a country program. And of course, we are talking about almost the main pillars about the sustainability. And our also approach consists of the natural resource management, sustainable management, the cultural management, the socioeconomic aspects, environmental sustainability, of course, UNDP, SDGP, and numerous international conventions about sustainability. And as I said, we prepared an atlas, and while doing that, we have seen also our values. And we have source of pride, which already exists, the 519 blue flag beaches, which puts us among the top 3 destinations in Europe, 473 Green Star accommodation facilities, which was a program initiated by the Ministry of Tourism and Culture in 1990s, which was also a program in collaboration with the Ministry of Energy to provide some incentives to the hotels with this star for using energy with some promotional rates and such incentives. And we have, of course, the international labels. Currently, we have 111 travel life accommodation facilities. 8 travel agencies are also certificated by Travel Life. We have 106 green key hotels all around the country and 6 green globe properties. And what about the other highlights? We have been nominated with our 2 destinations by UNWTO among the best tourism villages concept, which we really give very much importance, not only the recognition, but for a sustainable tourism, for having the tourism widespread with the locals, with the communities. This village concept is quite important. And now we have numerous villages that we are putting on the map of the destination promotion, and we are collaborating. And we have one strong destination, Bodrum, Bitez. They have been awarded in 2021 by Green Destinations among the 100 sustainable tourism destinations. We are proudly part of Eurovelo 8 with our city of Izmir. And of course, our transformation on the way to the green road. When we are talking about the circular economy, we have the 3 R's: reducing, reusing, and recycling. And the green transformation of the tourism sector, of course, we know is a long-term action plan, which includes the entire country, and the solid and strong steps that are going to be achieved by the tourism industry will be also affecting all the other industries in the country. And we have already some principles, some policies, and some laws in place. In 2019, a new law has been launched, which gives the time frame to the hotels, to the entire accommodation facilities in the country until the end of 2022 for zero waste. So this is already in progress. And we also, together with the collaboration with GSTC, we have a roadmap until the year 2020-30. And we have been the first, of course, GSTC collaborates with several institutions, brands, and countries. But we are the first government in the world signing a contract for a national sustainable tourism program, which is going to include all the tourism-related sectors, the accommodation, the tour operator services, and the destinations themselves. And our target is to comply the hotels, all the accommodation facilities and destinations and tour operators with the existing criteria of GSTC until 2030. Of course, there will be some states which is going to be announced later also according to the capacities and different types of the hotels. But when we look at, again, the pillars, the sustainable management, the cultural, socioeconomic, and environmental sustainability pillars of the program will also help us for resource management, for waste management, and wastewater management. So together with this transformation, we do target also to include all the communities, all the societies, all the industries to be part of the collaboration. We do have also another program that we are creating a kind of destination management and marketing organizations all around the country, because TGA, our agency, has been recently established by the beginning of 2020. And now together with the ministry and the agency and all the cities, the governors, the mayors, NGOs and tourism sector, we are collaborating for initiating tourism development and promotion councils at each city. And under the GSTC program, while we are having the green transformation of the destinations, we are going to collaborate with all those bodies and the local industries, the local sectors. All these destinations will be part of the game. So we are not going to do it from top to bottom, but we will be also collaborating with all the communities, all the people in the destinations all around the world, which will not only include the major tourism destinations, but also entire cities which has also the potential. We believe that the entire country has a potential for tourism. So this will give the floor and the opportunity for all the cities to showcase themselves. And as I mentioned, this includes the actions and also the visibility as a green and sustainable destination. So we do have a new digital platform, which is goturkiye.com. And we do have 81 cities of the country, the 7 regions, and also 50 tourism experiences as pillars. And sustainability is among them. And we put all our values as under the gosustainability.com digital platform. We have the green hospitality, the transportation. We call all our environmental friendly and ecotourism activities as green experiences, including cycling routes, camping and caravan routes, and many more. Of course, we are a proud destination with cultural and historic heritage. So we do have our UNESCO heritage, the sustainable gastronomy, the sustainable events, activities, and also the eco labels and certificates that the destination already has. And when we mention about the green experiences, we all know that the consumers are looking for that more and more. And we do have the national inventory of living human treasures, 45 individuals and 34 of whom are still alive. The wildlife observation, the clear waters of the Mediterranean and the Aegean, and underwater photography. And we are also proud with our 20 Sitta Slov destinations. And I mentioned about the UNESCO cultural aspects. And while doing this, actually, we had one also experience together with the pandemic. Since 2020 May, we have the Safe Tourism Program, which is among the leading programs, which consist of 7 different criteria for different types of tourism properties, from transfer shuttles to accommodation and convention centers. And we have over 11,000 certified properties for the moment. While announcing this green certification program together with GSTC, we were relying on this board. Actually, we have done it, we have experienced it, managing such a huge platform with different stakeholders. It consists of hotels starting from 30 rooms because it is mandatory for them. But we have also even smaller hotels if they are volunteered to do that. And they have been audited every month by independent certification companies. And of course, thanks, we are now able to travel and maybe lighten the measurements of the COVID entire world, but still for a sustainable and survival point of the tourism, we know that these programs should be still in place with new criteria. And we don't know what the future will be bringing. Hope good things only. But we still have the program and which will be adapted together with the green tourism program in the coming weeks, I can say. So it was a great pleasure to be able to share our experience. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, there, Ms. Balsi. I think that this strategy is very complete and very holistic, so it will be also a good inspiration for part of our national and international destination, and also that in your country, as you combine these very massive tourism-oriented places and also very authentic rural places. I think the rural places, I think this combination is good. According to the organizers, I think we have time for some 10 minutes for questions probably the debate, I recommend we leave it as we are running out of time as usual. Then we leave it for the corridors and for the social program, but apparently there is time. We have the chronometer there for a couple of questions. We have some 9 minutes. I don't know if there are questions from our public because it's difficult for me to see from here. If there is any question for the present attendance or something you want to point out, or I put some question then, if there is nothing around. Oh, there is one there. Please. I don't know if there is a micro or something like that, or you can do it somehow.
Hi, Jaume Mata from Visit Valencia. This morning I've been in the stage. My question is for Jaume, for Garden Hotels. Well, first of all, thank you for your inspiration, your motivation, and your action, which is what we need to really take these steps forward. When we are trying to convince our stakeholders that this is the way that they have to, they must to follow this path, because it's the only way we will survive to all this climate change and all these problems that are coming to us. And when we try to convince them, they have this dilemma, no, between, well, we are already responsible and we want to do that, but well, we have to we don't find the balance between being competitive, the cost of it, and being responsible. You know, you understand what I mean, no? So they always have this dilemma, and in the short term, they prefer to, okay, well, we'll do that. Maybe next month or next year, but now we have to survive. Did you have this dilemma, or how did you took this? How do you take this decision to say, okay, we have to do that, no matter what it costs, or if it's now or never?
Sí, yo entiendo que la pregunta, si para que nos entendamos bien con Jaume, si es eso, ese dilema en el que se encuentran y vamos, se encuentran ahora mismo y se encontrarán todavía mucho más tiempo las empresas, y supongo que los destinos también, ¿no? Y de eso también saben más Enrique y Tony, el dilema entre competitividad y responsabilidad. Si os encontráis con esto, si pensáis que os lo vais a seguir encontrando, es decir, quiero ser sostenible, quiero ser responsable, pero también tengo que sobrevivir. ¿Cómo hacemos? ¿Cómo resolver ese dilema y cómo lo estáis abordando?
A ver, no nos engañemos. A día de hoy estos proyectos a nosotros son deficitarios. Todos los proyectos que hemos hecho son deficitarios. Ahora, el tema es, ¿miramos a corto plazo o miramos a largo plazo? ¿Predicamos con el ejemplo o volvemos a lo de mismo? ¿Vamos a cambiar si hacemos siempre lo mismo? No vamos a cambiar. Entonces, ahora, hoy, nosotros no podemos decir que cobramos más a nuestros turoperadores, a nuestros clientes por hacer estas iniciativas. Hoy, mañana seguro que sí. Mañana lo que queremos es que el cliente apueste, y como decíamos, apueste a ir a empresas, en este caso a turismo sostenible, y que decidan cuando reserven, vengan a estas empresas que lo tienen interiorizado y es una parte de sus valores. Porque si no, si pensamos a corto plazo, hoy perdemos dinero, hoy estas iniciativas a nosotros económicamente no nos reportan, pero sabemos que mañana sí. Y también queremos ser ejemplo, impulsores de este cambio. Si no hacemos algo, si nosotros lo empezamos, el movimiento se demuestra andando. Entonces, seamos capaces cada uno en su poquito espacio y en sus posibilidades de hacer lo que puede. ¿Entiendes? Entonces, yo creo que somos grandes consumidores. El turismo, evidentemente, es el factor, pero hay muchos más. Lo que pasa es que está muy focalizado en el turismo, porque en Mallorca somos realmente la economía tira de la hostelería. Pero no nos engañemos, están todos los demás sectores que deberían de juntarse también y seguir la línea de cambiar no solo el turismo. Del turismo hay muchas
cosas detrás que vienen detrás del turismo y que también son suplementarios y complementarias del turismo. Entonces, es un tema global, pero lo que nosotros queremos demostrar es que hay que hacer el primer paso y que cada uno esté convencido en la medida de las posibilidades. A veces no. Yo entiendo que nos equivocamos porque decimos o lo hacemos todo o no hacemos nada. Esto no es así. Es decir, nosotros, todo lo que hemos empezado con pruebas piloto. Las pruebas pilotos, ha habido algunas que han sido un desastre. Bueno, pues no lo clono y no lo traslado a los otros hoteles. Ya está, lo he probado. Sé que por aquí no tengo que ir. O lo cambio o no me sirve. Pero he hecho la prueba. Si la prueba me sirve bien, entonces ya puedo empezar a caminar y a extrapolarlo y a clonarlo al resto de los diferentes hoteles. Yo creo que tenemos que ser conscientes de que hablamos demasiado. Yo digo que de economía circular, y ahora ya me extiendo, hay de muchos tipos. Está la teórica, que es la más abundante.
Circular
Luego está la
economy, there are
global, que
many
digo que la
types
Tierra es
of
redonda.
circular
Es
economies.
verdad que es redonda, pero nos interesa la economía circular
theoretic,
redonda. De China aquí, y digo, no,
so,
yo creo que es la local, la de aquí,
what we are
la que tenemos
interested,
cerca,
but
lo que
actually is
consumimos
the
y lo que generamos la
local
riqueza donde
circular
estamos,
economy.
revitalizar el entorno, la
So
economía, el medio ambiente de aquí.
revitalize
Luego ya pensaremos más
the
lejos. Y nosotros
surrounding
tenemos
and
esta filosofía y es lo que
our.
nosotros creemos.
This is our
Hay que
philosophy.
predicar un poco
This
con el
is
ejemplo.
what we
Todo,
in what
no,
we
lo que
believe,
podamos,
and we
pero
had
ya
to
está,
set
ya
an
arrancamos.
example.
Si nosotros no hubiésemos hecho la prueba piloto hace 6 años,
Within our
a día de hoy
possibilities.
no lo tendríamos
And,
instaurado. Y así muchos
so,
proyectos.
many
Bueno,
projects,
pues ahora ya lo hemos podido
yes,
hacer y
could
hemos podido ir
only
avanzando. ¿Podríamos hacer mucho más? Claro
be
que sí.
done if
Pero
someone
lo
starts
importante es
them.
arrancar.
So the important thing is
Muchas
to
gracias.
start.
Sí,
Yes,
nos
thank
quedan 2 minutos.
2 minutes.
2 y pico minutos, 2 minutes. So, Enrique, please, go ahead.
Que hay que desmontar la lógica esa de los números, ¿no? Porque nunca hacemos las cuentas completas. O sea, para empezar, la idea de competitividad y de cuentas que nos venden ahora es falsa, porque no mete las cuentas, la parte negativa que pagamos todos. Entonces, hermano, cuando se habla de eso hay que decir, oiga, ¿usted de qué me está hablando? Vamos a hacer las cuentas completas. ¿Qué cuesta esta feria entera? Y cuando tengamos la feria entera, hablamos de si es usted más competitivo, ¿no? Porque a lo mejor los estoy pagando su feria y encima me da lecciones de eficiencia, eficacia, no sé cuántas. O sea, primer punto, cuentas completas. Y para eso lo que existe son los modelos teóricos de los que mi colega de mesa no es muy partidario. Lo que cierra los temas es tener una teoría, tener una construcción de cómo funcionan las cosas. Pues en ese modelo no vas a ningún sitio, pero no construimos modelos. Segundo lugar, que esto se arregla con políticas públicas. O sea, hay legislación, hay planes, hay directrices que logras que sean asumidas por multitud de organizaciones. Si esto va de empeños individuales, no llegaremos muy lejos porque pueden ser muy ricos, pueden ser muy creativos, pero serán dispersos por su propia naturaleza. Por tanto, solo es capaz de hacer esto lo que nos ha dado la humanidad. Los grandes inventos de la humanidad, cuando son el Estado, las ciudades, esas cosas que son las que nos han permitido llegar hasta aquí. Por tanto, lo que tenemos que estar es en eso. Hagamos las cuentas completas y segundo, esto se hace con políticas públicas, legislación y recomendaciones, una estructura de incentivos distinta. Lo que hace una política pública al final es eso, una estructura de incentivos que hace que la gente vaya, el comportamiento de la gente vaya en la dirección que queremos.
So, thank you very much, Enrique. I think we are starting a very rich debate, but we have to finish now because it's less than 1 minute. So leave it for the corridors and leave it for the bar and leave it for the gin tonics or wherever you want to do it. So thank you very much, Enrique Martinez. Thank you very much, Tony Riera, Jaume Serra, and Elif Balsi. Sorry for being so pressed with the timing, but I think you did a very good job. So thank you very much also to all the attendants.
Thank you so much, Jose Maria de Juan, for moderating this session. Thank you, everyone. It's been a real pleasure to have you here with us. Enrique Martinez, Tony Riera, Jaume Ordinas, Elif Balki-Fiso-Noglu, and undoubtedly, once again, an interesting and complete session. Thank you so much. Round of applause for all of them. Thank you so much for this interesting session. Oh, sorry, no worries. And as I said before, undoubtedly, once again, an interesting and complete session in which we have learned about the fundamental aspects of circularity for a truly sustainable development. And now let's talk about measurement. Being a sustainable destination implies an intelligent and responsible manner to develop. This also means leading a strategy that includes measurable objectives in terms of sustainability under the reference of global criteria and objectives set out in the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda. Experts in measuring tourism, data analysis, and leading strategies based on real information are the following speakers. Moderates this session, the last one of day one, Dolores Ordóñez, Technical Director of Any Solution Spain, degree in law from the University of Deusto, Spain, and executive master in innovation. Ordóñez is specialized in innovative strategies, mainly in line with smart cities and tourism. She is also a member of the Smart Destinations WD of the University of the Balearic Islands. She is vice president of Planetic Spanish Technology Platform for ICT and vice president of the International Tourism Cluster Turistec. She is coordinator of the Smart and Sustainable Transition Track in Tourism for the Smart Cities Challenge of the European Commission, tourism expert for Eurochambers within EU4BCC, and member of the Spanish National Center of Gaia X, and co-leader of the Tourism Data Space Working Group. So many things. So please, Dolores Ordóñez, please round of applause for her. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank
¿Qué
you.
tal, Dolores?
Un placer.
Big pleasure, and
Thank you.
congratulations. You've done lots of things. It's a real pleasure to have
We
you here.
try always.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. A special thank you to the Conseil de Mallorca, United Nations World Tourism Organization. I think this is a very, very interesting event, and this is the last session in which we are going to deal with a very important issue, which is data. So data is becoming a key bone in all the strategies and decision-making procedures. And today we count with high-level speakers to deal with it. So we have in our session 2 speakers that are going to be online, and the other ones are here. And we are going to start presenting Sergio Guerrero, which is online with us today. And he is representing the National Ministry of Tourism of Portugal. Then we have the pleasure to have Dirk Glasser from the United Nations World Tourism Organization. And he is the Director of Sustainable Tourism. And also he is in charge of the Sustainable Network of Sustainable Tourism Observatories of United Nations World Tourism Organization, from which Mallorca has become the 3rd Sustainable Tourism Observatory in Spain and the 31st at worldwide level. And then we have also here Javier Ramasco, researcher from IFIX. IFIX is a research group from CSIC and the University of the Balearic Islands, and they are specialized in data and artificial intelligence. And we have also Carlos Cendra from Mabriam. Mabriam is a very innovative company. It's from Menorca, so our sister island, and they are deploying a very nice innovative solutions based on data. And we have also José Luis Gadea from Segitur, and he is the Director of Research and Development in Segitur. So welcome, all of you. And we are going to start. We have changed a little bit the order in our program. So we are going to start with Sergio Guerrero. I think he is online now, so he will start with the speech.
Well, buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. I think you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you very much to the organizers of the Sustainable Destination Summit for inviting me to participate in the session. Also have the opportunity of reviewing some of my friends. My sincere apologies for not being able to be in Mallorca. Believe me, I would love to do it, but I have to I had an OECD meeting in Paris, so I'm in Paris. And I have a slight deadline to reach the airport. So thank you very much for being flexible with the program. So with no further delay, I will share my presentation. And please tell me, Dolores, if everything looks great from your side.
It's perfect.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much for inviting us. And what I'm the story that I'm going to tell for the next try to 8 minutes is what have we done actually in Portugal in terms of using data for supporting sustainable tourism strategies in Portugal. First, a very short slide to show you what is Turismo Portugal. I'm senior director at Turismo Portugal for the area of data and innovation, and we are, I would say, a national tourism authority that has competences as roles from throughout all the value chain of the tourism sector, from classification of hotels to the planning area, to supporting investment. We are also a marketing agency, just like Tour España. We own 12 hotel schools all around the country. We are also gambling regulators, and together with all these business units that we have in our company, we have two areas, which is knowledge, production of data, and that's my responsibility. And we have another one, which is the area of fostering innovation in the country, a little bit what Segitur does in some aspects. But this is the first block of it, to understand, to show you a little bit what was the need for the strategy in terms of data that we've set up. And the key for that is the strategy of the tourism sector that we've launched. We've launched in 2017 a 10-year strategy for the future of tourism in Portugal, and sustainability was at the core of everything, of all the pillars of our strategy. What that means for us in terms of data producers, we have to, well, align our production of data and our research area to all these topics, because new metrics came in because the strategy had specific goals in terms of economic performance, but also at the same time in social performance, and finally in terms of environmental performance. So we needed to adapt our system in order to respond to the strategy and help the decision making, both from the public sector and the private sector. And how do we see measuring sustainability? This is far from being an easy topic, and it's great to have Dirk with us, because we've been talking for many years on in these areas. So the first topic, and this is the first rule that we use as NTA, is going and looking at destinations. This is a very important topic, and the last panel was quite interesting in the sense. So what we did, first place in 2000 and begin in 2007, well, we looked at what was the production of UNWTO on this, on European Commission on this, and we've designed a set of indicators in the three areas of sustainability, and we start collecting data, producing data, and making data available for all the people. Second point is, sustainable and traditional tourism statistics are not enough anymore to deal with this challenge. So what we also went through an agenda of making our travel and statistics system more robust by trying, and the word here is trying, and using new data sources. And we also got in the sustainability reporting. We do it at our company since 2007, but we also started to use the data from the sector to make it available for all the stakeholders. The second pillar of it is dealing with the sustainability of companies. I'm not going into detail. I think the last panel was very good on this topic. But what we've done, we start doing a survey on environmental performance and social responsibility from our tourism enterprises. It's an operation that goes on, and so here we measure the level of adoption of sustainable solutions by companies, and one key element for the decision-making process. Third pillar, thinking about residents, and by residents, this is, I would say, very difficult area to explore. It's not possible to do a national survey on this. This is a local topic from our point of view, and we have here the benefits of having Lisbon leading the process in doing surveys on the residents to understand how they feel about tourism. And we also, what we've done together with UNWTO, we've started a process to install regional observatories of sustainable tourism that then will join UNWTO Insto network. So I think learning process in this is quite interesting. We have already 3 observatories in the network. We have 3 others that are already established, but not yet in the UNWTO network. Finally, but not the least, I'm not this could be a very good discussion for a future conference, which is changes in consumer behavior towards sustainability. A lot of things are happening in this pillar, especially after COVID. What we've done, and this is presentation will be available, so feel free to talk. Basically, this was our journey since 2015. We've started with the traditional statistics system that exists, mixing national and international data. What we've done after that was trying to extend the statistical system, but at the same time, trying to bring new data sources. And here we're talking clearly about big data. We've tested the viability of mobile data, and we are using it now. We've tested the data from short-term rental. We are using it now. We've tested airline data for supporting our decision-making process, and that is completely a part of our daily operation in the country. We also, in 2019, started investing in understanding the economic performance of companies to understand their financial health. It's something that it's also on the loop. And finally, we also invested in bank cards as a source of understanding consumer patterns within the country, and this was particularly useful during the pandemic. And then in 2020, we have extra suppliers that are working in it. They are part of our ecosystem as a team. So a little bit, and what I want to bring, which is this is not theory. We are very hands-on people in our company, and just to show you a little bit what are the angles of the things that we are doing. COVID-19 was actually a stress test for us, but in terms of use of data, an amazing experience because everyone is looking for data of all natures. So we monitor all the support that we gave to companies in each one of the lines, how many jobs were saved, and so on. We also monitored the number of people, a number of companies that had a clean and safe stamp in Portugal. We monitored sustainability of our own company and also evolution of our national tourism registries through the pandemic. We also have a geodata platform where investors, where everyone can see, because it's a public tool, everyone can see where are the main hotels, where are all the tourism stakeholders, relevant players in terms of planning. They are all mapped into geodata. So this is I would say, a very important tool for investors to understand where are they putting that investment, what's in place already, and what's planned already. So this is a prospective tool also. Another thing that we've done, so a little bit understanding the market, and here we touch on trying to understand volumes in terms of accommodation and demand accommodation in accommodation in Portugal. We also monitor the impact of short-term rental with a partner that gives us, sells us the data on short-term rental. As I was saying, with SIBS, which is our leader in bank cards in Portugal, we've designed several dashboards that you can go for municipality to understand travel patterns for metrics and also economic impact with the tourism salary account. We're, as I said, very important, the air traffic. I think today is the only tool that can help us to understand a little bit what's going on for the future. Sustainability, this is one example of dashboards that we use to understand what's in place for, and here we have covering more than 35 indicators in the 3 pillars of sustainability. The second dashboard is related to qualifications in the tourism sector in terms of employment. We also use this, a very important topic, which is using data for real-time crisis management. This is an example that we did to support decision-making of where put emergency gas stations during a strike in the summer in Portugal. So this was, I would say, tremendous to make the case for the tourism sector and to guarantee that the tourists visiting Portugal, they were not gonna run out of gas if they needed to move. So another example. Another thing, and I would say the potential of mobile data here is really important to understand how, and this was the case that we did with the final of the Champions League last year, in the city of Porto, where we had two British teams competing, and here we can understand the number of people that was on the event by hour of the day, by nationality. So I think it was very, very important for us to understand that, for example, we had 75,000 people around the place, but at the same time, 50,000 people that were actually in the stadium. We could understand also from where do they come from, what their nationalities, and this, I would say, for daily basis management is quite critical and quite useful in terms of data. It's not an easy agenda to deal with mobile data. I think all of us that tried to do it see that there are challenges in managing this kind of data, but we are strongly believers that the future we have to integrate traditional data systems that provide, I would say, accountable, verifiable data with other kinds of data sources that can help us to make the decision-making process, which has become more and more short-term in terms of what we do. So I will try to make this in a fast way. This is my contact. I'm also in LinkedIn, so feel free to connect. Feel free to reach us, and well, looking forward for the rest of the panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sergio. It has been a real pleasure to have you here. It's a pity you are not here in Mallorca, but I hope next time you will be able to be here. Congratulations for the Data Hub. I think we have seen very nice dashboards in which different kind of information is shown in a very easy to use dashboards, but at the end we have to think what the data that is there and how this data can be achieved. So congratulations for that, because I think you are gathering such an amount of data. Perhaps it would be interesting to have you in the discussion at the end, but I know you have to leave to the airport, so we will leave the questions for next time. So now we are going to give the floor to Dirk Glasser from United Nations World Tourism Organization, Director of Sustainable Destinations.
Sustainable Tourism Development.
Okay.
Good, thank you very much. This presentation comes actually at a very late stage. And I think many in the room already are pretty much convinced that evidence is needed for a sustainable development of destinations. Anyhow, I wanted to go through some points and explain especially the position of UNWTO. Why did we come to this conclusion? Because I think that would help you also to see where there are certain implementation gaps and how do we right now see destinations and the role of destinations in closing this implementation gap. So the first thing I wanted to bring to your attention for those who haven't heard of that so far was the analysis we did in the Secretariat of UNWTO, analyzing more than 100 national tourism policies. These are the strategy documents you heard before, the question about how important are strategies. These are these guiding documents national administrations develop to guide their own thinking, their own implementation on implementation of activities supporting the objective of tourism development. And we looked into those, coded them, and looked over there for the appearance of the importance of sustainability. We found that all of the more than 100 national tourism policies we looked at mentioned sustainability as important. That was a surprise because we thought at that stage when we analyzed that there might be still some lacking behind. And then when we looked deeper and we coded that, means we were looking for the words and the appearance of certain instruments through which objectives are then to be implemented. We found that there was a shortfall. We looked especially for sustainable consumption and production, and we looked in there which instruments, whether they are legal instruments, whether these are voluntary instruments or financial instruments, are there existing to implement this objective, this political will, and we saw already that they were falling behind. And then we looked, and that is the link to our today's meeting here, we looked at what actually is foreseen in these policies, what references made to monitor, are we successful? Are we successful with our policies? So we looked at the instruments available to monitor. And we found that the majority of the instruments, you see that in the first column, was focusing on an economic performance of the tourism sector. No surprise. We all know that we, for many, many years, just measured the success of tourism in its economic dimension. And then we saw that about 56% at least made reference to monitoring tools looking beyond the environmental dimension. We didn't look into the social cultural dimension at that stage, but at least we found over there some more than 50% are interested in monitoring also the environmental performance. Then, and you know how important it is not only to measure, and this is for any scientist who is finding something, the crucial moment actually of his findings is when he's publishing, because then he's making his logic public, he's making his evidence public, and he gives others the possibility to check whether that what he was saying or assuming, whether this is actually happening. And so what we did is, independently from the National Tourism Policy, we went to the websites of the National Tourism Administrations and checked what was published on what you actually discovered. And we found that the public progress reports only in 1 out of 10 cases were available on environmental performance of tourism. So actually here we saw, yep, there is a certain interest. Still, it's significantly falling behind the economic interest to measure the performance of tourism, but we see far too little getting out over there being published and allowing us to review more in depth the performance of tourism. And that is right now just looking at the national level, as I said at the beginning. How important this is, I wanted to demonstrate with this example. Most of you have heard right now today the references already to what we modeled and presented to the COP25 of the UNFCCC, when we modeled the tourism sector's performance up to the year 2030 from its transportation component, assuming that 75% of carbon emissions of the tourism sector are especially linked to this sector. And what we found over there was an increase of the carbon emissions by at least 25%. And now is the important half sentence: against the current ambition. When we published, we made that very clear. That was the modeling against the currently known ambition. And that is very important for everybody who is listening to us, who will listen in the future to the recording of today, that it is not just what we find here today, but that against this scenario, we have the possibility to accelerate. And that was COP25, that was the COP celebrated in Madrid. And we've called for higher ambition during that COP from the tourism policy perspective. Although we spoke here heavily about carbon emissions being influenced by the transportation sector or the transportation component, we asked for a high ambition of the tourism sector. And at the last COP, COP26 in Glasgow, we presented the united position of the tourism sector's signatories of the Glasgow Declaration, committing over there to a higher ambition in their area of influence. All that is needed so that we are actually then later on seeing an objective, that we are seeing the instruments. And in 2 documents I'm presenting to you, we brought that again to the international level. The very first one is here, the One Planet vision on the responsible recovery of the tourism sector, where evidence played a very important role in our argumentation for a responsible recovery. That was at a time when most people were basically still under the shock of public health measures. And we took that, and that's why I showed that, to the next level, then to the G20, and Isabel mentioned it this morning in her opening remarks. We took it to the G20 ministers, where we place then the logic of evidence-based decision-making as a core element for sustainable tourism development, something which to many of you here in the room is an absolutely simple logic, but wasn't like that in the past when there were plenty of actions, but we had our problem of identifying where did we depart from baseline and where are we actually heading to, what vision do we have, and how do we perform. And as we all know, the tourism sector is a highly complex sector. So it is important not only to know about our own actions, but also to understand at least a bit the repercussions we have. Here I just showed you the milestones when it comes to measurement at UNWTO, meaning measurement we helped or tried to help the tourism sector, especially at the international perspective, to better measure and understand the dimension of tourism. And you see over here some cornerstones which were introduced already at an early stage in the 90s when we focused on sustainability, but we focused back then, and that is a core argument of ours, we focused on indicators. It was not a system which was comprehensive as it is suggested now, the measuring sustainable tourism. It was a first logic of measuring sustainability by indicators. Let me explain right now why. Because this is one of the complexities of sustainability which has to be seen in context, where we have the enormous difficulties against this context to harmonize or to standardize. And the very first publication we released with our guidance on had, because of that, a very funny title, which actually can be read also as a question. And the publication to the left is titled, "What Tourism Managers Need to Know." It stressed the importance of that it is the tourism manager who must consider this information as useful for his management of problems which are previously identified and agreed upon. Then later on to the right, you see a publication we released then later on, which is the mother of many of the nowadays available systems, whether it was ETIS, whether it's GSDC. Here we issued a publication indicating 44 issue areas of concern through 500 indicators, which long before we had technology supporting us in our measurement efforts would be suggested as indicators providing evidence to our performance and better movement in the tourism sector. And that brings me right now to the close link of this conference. And Mallorca, having opted right now for a clear path of evidence-based sustainable tourism policy supported by technology, supported by visions which are actually needed at the destination level to make our policies timely, accurate, and relevant. The network of INSTO was created against this perspective to support destinations which are committed, which are spearheading the transformation and allowing there an exchange in this endeavor to find the necessary evidence. What we did, not only welcoming these observatories, but we asked them to at least monitor in 11 mandatory issue areas. And I mentioned before the publication to the right with 44 issue areas. And the 11 issue areas we are asking here as a minimum are the core consent, meaning they are appearing in many other systems of measurement or standardization. So allowing a destination which is committed to improve right now through regular evidence, also to get then into other processes to get certified in the end to be complementary to other existing and relevant systems. and logics. We are providing nowadays technical webinars and the resources according to those 11 issue areas. But just for piece of clarification, none of the observatories is limited to these 11 issue areas. They are just compulsory. Most of the observatories we have recognized already, it's from the very early phase on, are measuring and intending to measure in other areas going beyond, and especially relevant for their context. Then a word of thanks to the Observatory of Mallorca. For some of you here in the room, it might not be known. It has been, from our perspective, an extraordinary candidature we received there last year. Not only a high number of support letters, which expressed over there that the sector as such is standing behind an approach which is transforming sustainable development based on evidence, but also, and that is the letter to the left, which was outstanding, a letter of support signed, the same letter signed by all political parties. That is something we wish to see more often, but it was Mallorca who proved for the very first time that something like that is in nowadays times possible, meaning that tourism sometimes can unite even different political visions and allow over there to develop a future development perspective, which is shouldered by many different political visions. Now I want to close with some warning words, because we see too easily nowadays this sustainability discussion again as a discussion of, yes, we should do that. But all of us have just ended, maybe not really ended, but have just left a phase of 2 years of pandemic direct experiences. We all felt directly what the pandemic meant to us. And the very first thing I wanted to bring to your attention is that meant, and the very first thing for us, waiting until we have developed techniques, medical measures, medicines, vaccinations, which help us to overcome this pandemic and to leave this pandemic phase. But that is not right. We have to think differently if we want to escape from this circle of pandemics. The last pandemic we went through was one we all went through, but we have seen before beginnings of pandemics, beginning of communicable diseases which were heavily affecting us and had the potential to affect the tourism sector. And that will continue to occur if we don't change one core thinking, the way that sustainability is just a thing which is good to do. Sustainability, or the factors which have led to this pandemic outbreak, are actually the same factors which are very often discussed, disconnected from pandemics. These are the losses of biodiversity, losses of land, and climate change. These are core drivers of pandemic appearances. And with that, I wanted to close the link between something we all went through and our future endeavor to improve the performance of the tourism sector, to make our livelihoods more sustainable. It is not just about that. It's about the resilience we are achieving, not only for the tourism sector, but for our societies. And with that, I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dirk. It has been nice to listen that in the last 30 years, we have passed from this only economic measurement of the tourism activity to this sustainability, how this sustainability is being integrated in the tourism measurement. So I think it's very, very important also all the work that you are doing in the network of sustainable tourism observatories, because at the end, you are also offering this pathway to measure you have these 11 areas that are compulsory, but at the end, each observatory is also adapting their needs to the real characteristics of their territory. So at the end, they can measure also more indicators. And I think sustainability is a key issue. Thank you very much for your presentation and also for your nice final works, because at the end, the pandemics are also happening due to the climate change, and we have all together to work towards it. So thank you. So now we're going to leave the floor to Jose Javier Ramasco from CSIC. And it's IFIX, which is the research group that is together with the University of the Balearic Islands.
Okay, so thanks a lot for the invitation for this to this forum. Actually, as I was remembering now that Dirk was talking about the observatories, the Eastern observatories, that sometime that we met long ago, the first time that we met in Madrid, and for me it was very strange to see that there was no observatory in the islands, and I was thinking, well, come on, I mean, we are living out of tourism, so it's strange that we don't have something like that here. So I'm very happy that now that it has happened. So finally we can start, and of course from our side it will be very nice to collaborate with the observatory. No, I am, as she was saying, at IFISC. IFISC is a research institute here in the university, and we have been working in mobility and data related to human activity for now some years. And what I'm going to tell you is more or less a story of how we have been using this data to understand some particularities about the question of mobility. Then we will go to how this can be used in the question of tourism. And just I will give a final clues about what happens with the part of sustainability related to tourism also, okay? So let's start, and I will essentially show you the different kind of data, the kind of things that we have been doing with that. And sometimes the data will see logos of companies that have been provided the data in different research projects. They are similar to the ones that Sergio was showing at the beginning. So actually, the sources are very similar, as you can see. And then the questions can be also similar in some places. But in our case, since we are doing research, what we are interested in is in understanding how far you can extract information out of this data. No? In this first case, what we are talking about is about cities. This was a little our starting point in this question. And well, you have up there the city of Madrid, that of course is a very complicated and complex system with people doing all sorts of things, moving around, consuming energy, consuming resources, water, as we have been talking this morning, also producing waste that also has to be processed. No? But there are many other things that are produced there, hopefully, thankfully, because you can also have new ideas, new companies, new businesses. So there are many questions. No? So in the part of data, what can be obtained from that? In this case, we were looking at mobile phone records, and we were trying to understand how we could divide the space with this data, and how can this represent the part of mobility. No? Here you have a map of what happens with Madrid that we obtained in that project, and this is a heat map where the red colors indicate big concentrations of people. And this is what happens hour by hour in the city during a normal week. Okay, so what you have is this central area that gets illuminated and then gets shut down, and this can be followed actually hour by hour with a high precision. I mean, the spatial precision depends on the kind of data that you are using, but in general you can get asset table positions. In here, we're interested in where the top activity was concentrated and what that means for, let's say, public management of the spaces in the cities. A similar map to this is done also for Mallorca. Okay, so in that case, you could observe not only what happens with the residents, but also what happens with the people that are visiting us from different places. This is another example. This was obtained with another source that is online social networks. In this case, is Twitter, and this has the advantage of over the mobile phone records that they are global, in the sense that the same user has an account, and it is the same account regardless of where that person is located. Okay, so you can see the movements between borders and what happens across them. So, for instance, in this video, that I don't know if it is working Probably yes. Well, otherwise I will show you the end of the video. So what happens is that someone has been in London, and then we are following them. Well, no, actually this is the first day, so you are not seeing the, okay, well, it's supposed to be day by day, which are the locations that people that were in London have been visiting, okay? So you could see a kind of spread of these red points in the map, and then you can have an idea of how far people that has been in London can really reach. So the experiment can be repeated from other origins. Like in this case, there was another video from Mallorca. And then in this case, okay, maybe, no, oops, this is, oh, sorry. So let's go back. So from Mallorca, you could also see which areas of the world has been visited for people that has been here. So this can be local people, so residents, or it can be people that has passed as visitors, no? So our tourists somehow. This was done with the idea of comparing different destinations and different origins, and then of course you could do a ranking given by the coverage of the visitors to at the global scale, no? So here you have the 1,000-day end of the video for London on the top and for Mallorca on the bottom. And you can see that, I mean, of course, London is still a very central destination in terms of business and other questions, no? But this can be done city by city and tourist destination by tourist destination. And so we repeated the same experiment with touristic destinations like these ones of well, Grand Canyon, Machu Picchu, the usual global ones. And then this allows us to do some ranking in terms of a diversity of visitors. Okay, not so much about visitors, that could be also be done at a certain point, but also by the diversity and the difference of the spectrum of the visitors that you were having. Okay, so these were some examples. I mean, curiously, we found things like this one, this kind of the two extremes. No? So you have the Taj Mahal that was the top of the list in this case in terms of diversity, and Grand Canyon that is mostly visited by North American people. So essentially, it's a much more local attraction than Taj Mahal. No? So this was examples of the kind of rankings that you can get. And this kind of data is also very useful to observe what happens in places like Mallorca. And here you have the concentration of visitors and visitors by type of visitors. So essentially you can say, okay, on the left you have people from the UK, on the right people from Germany, and then you can observe that they visit different areas or they concentrate in different areas of the island. There are some segregation that can be measured, and actually you can quantify. No? This can also allow you to obtain the mobility patterns of these people inside the island and observe the differences and the different demands that the different communities have to the island. Okay, so these are the kind of information that you can extract out of this data for the part of tourism. Then where the question of sustainability come from? Well, I mean, this is a question that has to do with, especially in the islands, or in particular in Mallorca, that has to do with what is called carrying capacity. No? So that is a sort of abstract concept because actually it's not very well defined, but probably it exists, but it's hard to measure. No? So somehow the question is that you have limited resources of water, limited resources of energy, and of course space in terms of housing and other questions. No? And then what you have are visitors that at certain point can be, as happens in here, a good numbers, let's say, compared to the local population. And then what you are trying to measure is how much this difference occurs. No? So I mean, how much people you get compared with what you have in there, and then how much services you will need to cover these people in the sense of not only in terms of hoteling or in terms of energy or water, but also in terms of social services like hospitals and other questions, no? Like buses and transportation. So this was an analysis that we did actually this year for the government of the Balearic Islands. And what they wanted was to have a comparison between the different regions of Spain to see how we were doing. And what we observe in here is not surprising in the sense that this is what everybody that lives here knows that it was going to happen. But we managed to quantify these questions. No? So in this sense, the floating population in the islands is almost twice the local resident population. In the summer, in the winter, we are not so marking so high, but remember that the maximum of this question is what signals where how much services you need to provide. And this is also related to how much money we have to put in taxes to maintain these services, okay? So these are some examples. And then just a final question about the mix of data with models, which is something that also appeared this morning in a presentation about waste management. No? So, well, I mean, this data gives you the power to really do models that are getting closer and closer to predictive models. An example of this treatment, it was happens here in Palma every time that we have a cloudy day, no, especially in the summer. So it's called actually by let's see if we can manage to pass. Okay, it's called the cloud effect by the traffic authorities here in the island. And then what happens is that they have to develop a full program to try to control the fact that many people try to enter into the city because they cannot be in the beach. They want to visit some cultural features like the cathedral. This is the first thing that they put there. No? Well, when this happens, then we have usually, I mean, in the highway that is around Palma, we usually have jams, but those days are terrible. I mean, the jams grows exponentially, so somehow. No? So it's a big mess for the tourists, but also for the locals. That, of course, you try to go to your work, and then you find that the traffic jam is terrible, and then it also produces a lot of emissions that goes against, I mean, essentially against the environment, and increases the concentration of NOx and CO and some other gases. No, so the question is, can we say something about that? And then, in this case, we don't have it prepared for Palma, but we did an example of what you can do in Barcelona in the context of another project. And the idea there is that you have the information of where the people usually live or where usually they are, where they have to go along the day. And then with that, you build a model that try to predict what happens if you change the rules, okay? And this is important because what we were talking this morning about machine learning based tools are good to predict questions as long as you don't change the rules. Okay, so in the moment that you change things, then you have to retrain your system, and that's usually a very costly process. So in this case, what we have in here was Barcelona, and what the city hall was interested in is what happens if I put tolls to enter into the city. It is related to the low emissions areas, but this was even before that. So essentially, they were already thinking on these questions. No? And then what we did was to build a model and run it and check what happens in different scenarios with different prices, with different locations of the toll barriers. And then actually you observe, well, I mean, this case is not, it was not so incredible in the sense that what you observe is a reduction, of course, of the traffic of cars inside the city. This reduction depends on the tax that you put to enter into the toll area. But the model was interesting in the sense that it also offers a clue on what will happen in the public transportation network. Because, of course, in this case, you will reduce the cars, but then the people that has to go to the interior of the city, or in this case, what will happen in Palma if we try to avoid the people who goes into the interior of the central area of the city, they still will have to go in some way. So they will try to use public transportation. And in this case, what you could say is which lines will suffer an incredible increase in demand. It was more than 200% of increase. Okay, so and that implies that the manager of that system will have a tough time to adapt to the new demand. Okay, so well, with that I close, and well, thank you a lot for your attention.
Thank you so much, Javier. I think it's very interesting to gather as much data as we can, and then also to analyze how this data is impacting the sustainability of the destination. I think this is completely linked with the next presentation, because Carlos is going to speak about that. So how are we going to define these sustainable tourism strategies thanks to data? So Carlos, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Well, I have a challenging role. I'm the last speaker today, long day. And so I'm I'll try to do it easy, light, and interesting, and possibly not as passionate as Antoni, which is a crack, but I'll try, right? Well, first of all, thanks to the Consell Insular de Mallorca and the UN WTO for counting us on being here, sharing panel with experts, which is a honor. And also, we are proud to represent the Balearic innovation, right? We are from Menorca, and so Balearic and Menorcan innovation on stage. So thank you for that. First of all, I want to briefly introduce what's Merian, for the ones that already don't know us. Merian, what means is making bright analytics. It's a travel intelligence company with an approach of value with two phases, right? In one hand, we've got technology, right? That means we are experts in big data analytics. So we have been working for the last 7 years in order to create a platform to analyze different global source of data from air connectivity, accommodation, spending patterns with credit cards, mobility patterns, a lot of the sources that Jose Javier has mentioned as well, right? That's one part. And the other part is the knowledge in tourism, right? So we are 100% focused on tourism, and we have a team with a background in tourism. The most of them have been working in tourism. So we help our clients to interpret, not to read, but to interpret and to use that information to make decisions, which is the key, the last part, right? We basically work with tourism organizations, public tourism organizations from national level, not with Portugal, with Sergio Guerreiro. I know him really well, but also with private sector, right? So this is our value proposition. Sorry, but we are here to report what we can, how we can help with our work to measure sustainability, right? So I would like to start by defining what's sustainability for us. What's tourism sustainability for us, right? Because sustainability, I'm sure most of us would be agree that sustainability is a pretty wide, deep, and general concept to be measured. And so we focused in tourism sustainability, right? And for us, this concept, it's a balance in between 4 areas which are key. The tourist experience, the residents' well-being, this is also mentioned by Dirk, the environmental protection or even regeneration, as Antoni mentioned before, and the last but not least, profitability of the sector, right? This is one of the parts that sometimes we forget, right? If we need a live healthy and sustainable tourism system or sector, we need the companies being profitable and efficient, right? And how big data can help on all that? Our approach is by analyzing global sources, global and stable sources, cross-analyze them, and try to get information indicators that can help destination managers. All of this is focused for destination managers, that's important, to measure, track, and compare different KPIs in order to track the performance in terms of sustainability. We're treating more than 30 different indicators to build these 7 different KPIs to measure the distribution of the tourist income at the destination. So how the income of the tourists is spread in terms of the local economies, measuring the carbon footprint, so the impact of the visitors when getting to a destination by air, measuring as well the tourist offer concentration in accommodation and also in activity, right? That's very important to measure the pressure, the human pressure on the territory. The fourth, it's very interesting, is the sustainability perception. This is something that we work with analyzing the social networks, right? And we get how our visitors and our potential visitors, important as well, perceive our destination in terms of sustainability. Also identifying the motivations to visit our destination and looking for opportunities and threats in terms of dependencies on specific tourism products. Also dependence on markets of origin, right? This is pretty common that a destination depends too much in a few markets of origin, right? And we pay special attention when this problem comes from long-haul markets of origin, right? Which has a most direct impact on sustainability. And the last, but not less important as well, is the seasonality, right? So it's basically measuring the peaks of human pressure during the year in order to avoid some of the problems that are related with the rest of the KPIs, right? Why we decided to go through these indicators? Among thousands of indicators that we could select, as I mentioned, the sustainability is pretty wide. Because we really think that the destination managers, apart from having tools to measure, which is key, they have to focus on the areas they can manage, right? Where they can make decisions and make a change with their governance, basically, right? And those are the 6 areas where we can act, a destination can act and make changes and measure results with the indicators I just mentioned, right? By identifying and targeting profiles, so identifying the most interesting clients for our destination according to our strategy, right? Managing the air connectivity, along with the airlines, obviously, the destination managers can manage the routes, the seasonality, even the aircraft models and the load factors of the air connectivity in order to have a better strategy in terms of sustainability. The accommodation offer, in this case, especially the holiday rentals offer. The hotel plant, it's kind of difficult to change. We can limit new hotels, but which is done. But the case of the holiday rentals is different, right? And in this point, the Balearic Islands institution has a lot to say because they were pretty pioneer by regulating this problem. The tourist products offered, so the managers can look for a scenario where the interest to visit a destination is more heterogeneous, more balanced, so we don't depend on specific products. Sometimes to do that, and as well as the first point, we don't only monitor our own destination. We can monitor destinations which are competing with us, probably not the island by Mallorca, but maybe a destination far away, right? Obviously, the seasonal activity who has connections with all that. And the last is the communication and branding strategy, which is also pretty important for destination managers. We have to be sure that the message that we are delivering to our clients, to our visitors, is clear, and we are connecting with them, expressing what we are doing in terms of sustainability, right? Because we can be doing really well, but we are not transmitting all that. Okay. All this can sound kind of utopic, right? But this is a reality. This is the tool that is existing now, has a reliable and standardized, stable, and global method. So it can be applied to any destination in the world, almost any level of destination, from a country to a small location, right? Can be applicable in 4-6 weeks. It's an automatic update. So it's pretty straightforward methodology that can be applied to any point of the world. Not all the destinations has the possibilities to develop a tool, a data hub, as Visit Portugal, for example, which is crazy. They did a really good job, and I want to congratulate Sergio for that, because they have a really powerful tool, but not all destinations will have the abilities, capacities, and especially time to do that, because it takes a lot of time, right? Just a couple of examples of, this is real screenshots of the tool, right? The look and feel of these indicators, the distribution of tourist income index, measuring not only how much a visitor is spending during their stay, but also how they spread that spend during their stay, paying attention, special attention into the local economies, right? And below we see a map and some indicators about the consultation of tourism offer, right? In terms of accommodation, activities, hotels by square kilometer, a density indicator, etc. Another good example, which is, by the way, new from this week, this is a new integration of this panel, of these indicator panels, is the footprint impact measurement, right? What we do is measuring the impact that a destination generates, not only for the destination, but for the world, when getting visitors to their territory, right? In the case of the islands, like the Balearic, like some other islands in Spain and in the world, the air connectivity is the key to get that tourism. So that's important to measure, and indicators like the total volume of carbon emissions, the volume of emissions by passenger, that's kilogram by passengers, by visitors, a relation that's pretty interesting on here. This is a relation in between the pollution that a visitor is creating to get to our destination and the income that this kind of, well, in average, this kind of visitor is generating for the destination. So it's a balance in between how much they create pollute and how much they create, let's say, wealth for the destination, right? Those are just a couple of examples. We have a lot more indicators that I will be happy to explain you. I'll be around all the Congress, and so I'll be happy to answer questions, right? And just to finish, I would call for move from good intentions to make a real change, which is what the world really needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlos. I think it's nice after speaking about data to see some concrete examples on how to use this data. And just to finish, we have our last speaker. I don't know if José Luis Javier Gadea from Segitur is connected. Yes? Okay. Thank you so much. You have the floor now. Can you hear us?
Sí, aquí estamos.
Okay, perfect, yeah.
Y bueno, buenas tardes a todos. Bueno, siento no estar en Palma, la verdad es que bueno, por un tema personal no he podido estar allí y bueno, hubiera sido un placer dar las gracias a Turismo de Mallorca y a la OMT por acordarse de nosotros, ¿no? En Segitur, y poder contaros qué es esto de la sostenibilidad en el marco de nuestro programa de destino turístico inteligente. Voy a compartir la pantalla, espero que... ¿Ya se ve?
Sí, perfecto.
Muy bien, gracias. Pues empezamos. Bueno, quizá lo primero sería contaros un poco qué es esto qué es un destino inteligente, más allá de la definición formal, ¿no? Que también que consensuamos con la OMT. Bueno, para nosotros un destino inteligente al final es un destino donde tiene muy en cuenta la transversalidad de la actividad turística y esas características que diferencian a cada destino. Eso es lo que hace que al fin y al cabo los visitantes vayan a ese destino, ¿no? Esa diferencia es capaz de proporcionar experiencias únicas a la gente que va a verlo. Ese es como primer punto, ¿no? Luego, ¿qué es esto de la sostenibilidad para nosotros? ¿Qué es esto de turismo sostenible? Pues vemos que es algo más que bueno, que la parte medioambiental, del cual habéis estado durante todo el día hablando, ¿no? Fijándose en la importancia, no es nada menos importante que todo lo demás, pero nosotros añadimos también un poco porque pensamos que tiene que ver mucho con esas características singulares de cada destino, la parte el patrimonio cultural, el
part of
folclore,
cultural
el desarrollo social y
heritage,
económico del
social and
destino y de la comunidad
economic
local, ¿no? Y
development
que
and
para ello,
local
pues, los
community
destinos tienen que
are
tener una
also
política de turismo
important.
sostenible
And for that reason,
apoyada por su
they
propio
need
sistema de conocimiento turístico,
sustainable
¿no? Y
politic
cuál, pues eso, que permita
policy
pues, poner en valor todas
which
esas características
enables to
que les
put
diferencian
into
de otros
value all
destinos
these features
para cada uno
which
de
are
ellos.
unique to this destination.
Y además, como tercer
Further,
punto sobre el cual nosotros basamos nuestro modelo es que, bueno, no
as
cuando
third
empezamos a
point
pensar en
on
este
which we
modelo,
base
pues pensamos
our
en que, bueno,
model, when
no
we
éramos los
think
más listos del mundo, ni por asomo, y entonces nos
we
dedicamos a mirar
thought
muchas cosas que había
previously we were
gente que
the
había hecho y
best and
que nos
the
merecía la pena, ¿no?
smartest, and
Y empezamos a
this
hacer una
was not the
recopilación de
case.
recomendaciones y
When
de
we
buenas
saw a
prácticas
bit, we
de esas instituciones de
collected
referencia en materia de
different
sostenibilidad turística.
best practices
Y
with
le dimos
sustainable
mucha vuelta, ¿no?
tourism, and
Y
we
teniendo en cuenta todo lo que vimos, teniendo en
looked at
cuenta
it from very
lo
different
que es para nosotros el
angles,
turismo
and
sostenible y teniendo en cuenta lo que es un
taking
destino
into
inteligente para
account
nosotros,
what a
pues
smart
empezamos a trabajar
destination,
en
a
nuestro modelo,
sustainable
¿no? Y
destination
al
is
final,
for
bueno,
us.
tenemos
We
nuestro modelo de destino
created
turístico inteligente
our
que se basa en 5
methodology,
ejes.
and our
Es un modelo
smart
jerarquizado
destination is based on
en base a
5
indicadores
axes,
y uno de los
the
ejes, como no podía
basis
ser de otra
of
manera, es el de la
indicators, and
sostenibilidad, ¿no?
one obviously is
Para que veáis la
sustainability.
importancia que tiene
In
para nosotros
order that you
este
see
eje
the
de sostenibilidad,
importance
es que es casi
of
casi la
sustainability for
mitad de
us,
los
it is
indicadores, llega al
nearly
45% de estos
half of
indicadores,
the indicators.
casi la mitad de ellos están
Nearly
referidos a la
half of the
sostenibilidad.
indicators are
Los
related to
requisitos, que sobre el total de requisitos
sustainability,
estamos en torno a
and
casi al
as to
39%, casi el
requirements, we are
40%,
nearly at
está referido
40%,
también a la sostenibilidad,
and
con lo cual, bueno, pues es muy
they
importante para
also
nosotros.
refer to
Lo que intentamos
sustainability.
hacer
So what we try
con nuestro modelo
to
de
do
indicador, que
with
es un modelo de
our
indicadores, es intentar hacer una
indicators
medición cuantitativa de la
model is
sostenibilidad.
try to
O sea,
make
medir la huella de
quantitative
carbono no es fácil, pero es
measurements. So
posible, medirlo muy cuantitativamente.
measuring
Medir
the
ciertas
carbon
cosas de la
footprint
movilidad
is not
no es fácil,
easy,
pero es
but it's
posible. Pero
feasible.
ya empezamos
But
a ver cómo empezamos a medir el
how to
folclore, la
measure
conservación del patrimonio,
folklore
la
or
formación de las
conservation
personas en el destino sobre la
of
sostenibilidad,
cultural
es por donde nosotros
heritage,
pensamos que tiene
or
importancia, ¿no? ¿Cuál es la atención sanitaria que en un momento dado
how
podemos ofrecer a
qualify
nuestros turistas, ¿no?
so
Bueno, pues
medical
todas estas
attention,
cosas son las
and
que
all
nosotros
these
en
things
nuestro eje de sostenibilidad
are the things
intentamos medir, ¿no?
in which we
Hay algunas
try
cosas
to
que se
include
nos
in our
escapan, entre comillas, se nos escapan
sustainability
porque
indicator.
intentamos que
Maybe some
se nos
things
escape nada. Se nos escapen hacia otros
are
ejes, como
not
puede ser la parte de
included,
calidad, ¿no? Donde,
but
bueno, sí tenemos
hopefully
que
not too
tener muy claro
much.
que es una parte de la
Maybe
sostenibilidad
clarity is
económica
also
del
part
destino,
of
pero
the
se nos va casi más a
sustainability,
un eje de gobernanza que
but
tenemos, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, pues hay veces que algunas cosas que podrían estar en sostenibilidad están en otro eje de gobernanza, pero el grueso,
maybe certain
evidentemente,
things
está
you
en
find
este
them
eje.
in another axis, not in the axis
Dentro de este eje, que
in which you
es lo que estamos
typically would
midiendo
find it. And
a grandes ámbitos, perdón. Estamos midiendo 4 cosas.
so we mainly look
La
at
gestión
4
de la
things:
sostenibilidad turística como
the
propia gestión,
management of
cómo
sustainability,
se gestiona esa conservación y
how
la mejora y
to
la recuperación del
manage
patrimonio
this
cultural,
conservation
cómo
and
conservamos y
cultural
mejoramos el
heritage,
medio
how
ambiente,
to conserve,
y luego
to
cómo
improve
gestionamos el desarrollo
environment, and
socioeconómico
how
y la economía
to
circular. Esos son
manage
nuestros 4
economic
grandes ámbitos
development
sobre
and
los cuales
circular
trabajamos, ¿no?
economy. And
Bueno,
these are the
intentando siempre
main
medir
4
lo máximo
pillars
posible.
on which we
En
work
el
on.
primer punto,
And on
bueno,
the
en este
first
ámbito
point,
de requisitos se analizan los elementos necesarios para la
here
puesta en marcha de
we
una política sostenible,
assess
¿no?
the
Y, por
requirements
supuesto, de su
to
gestión, ¿no? ¿Qué
start
analizamos más concretamente? Bueno,
management
la
of tourism
políticas de turismo sostenible que
sustainability.
tiene un destino, qué
We
planeamiento
see
urbanístico,
what
cuándo lo ha
kind
modificado,
of
si tiene algo que,
urban
se ha
planification we
incorporado
have in
temas
this
de sostenibilidad en el
sustainable
planeamiento o no.
destination, if it has
La
taken into
movilidad sostenible,
account
no solamente que haya que tener un plan de movilidad,
sustainable
sino este plan de movilidad
mobility
sostenible,
or
¿cuándo es? todo este tipo de aspectos los
All
tenemos muy
these
en cuenta, ¿no?
aspects
La
are
capacidad de
very
carga
important.
también,
The
la
load
aplicación de si tiene un
capacity,
sistema de indicadores
if
de sostenibilidad en
there
el
is
propio destino, ¿no? Que le va a ayudar a
indicator
gestionar mejor.
system which will
¿Qué
help me to
contribución
manage better
qué contribución
the
del gasto turístico está dedicando a la sostenibilidad del
contribution
destino?
of the
Es en la parte
touristic
del ámbito B. En el
expenses
ámbito
are
B, perdón,
for sustainability.
aquí estamos mirando qué elementos de
So
protección del
we
patrimonio
see
cultural, tanto
here
los tangibles e intangibles,
what
en la medida que podemos,
elements of the
y el
cultural
uso, y
heritage,
medimos también el uso y el fomento de los recursos que
tangible,
están relacionados con ese
non-tangible, are
patrimonio cultural, ¿no?
related with
Pues como
this
puede ser pues, la conservación y recuperación del patrimonio
cultural
cultural,
power,
fomento del patrimonio cultural, actividad de folclore, control. Intentamos ver
fostering
cuántas,
of
la agenda cultural del propio,
cultural
perdón, del propio
agendas,
destino,
and
cuántos eventos culturales están relacionados con la
how many
idiosincrasia del destino
elements
y
have to
cuántos
do
están
with the
promocionando
special
la propia cultura del destino,
features of this
entendiendo cultura, la
culture.
gastronomía, cualquier espectáculo, cualquier tradición, no solamente
So
desde el punto de
traditions
vista
and
más de eventos, ¿no? Cualquier cosa que
events,
tenga que ver
all
con
these
el
things
destino, ¿no?
which have to do with
Y sobre
destinations.
todo con el patrimonio, ¿no? Porque pensamos que el patrimonio al final es
And
uno de los
with the
grandes valores que
cultural
tenemos, la
heritage,
cultura que tenemos
because
en España es uno de
for
los
us
grandes valores
in
y
Spain
pensamos que
it's
eso hay que
one of the
protegerlo y
greatest
debe
values
ser
which we have to
muy sostenible, ¿no?
protect, and
En el punto
here
C,
we
en el
have to
ámbito
be
C,
very
los requisitos
sustainable.
que vemos pues
So
abarcan todo lo
in this
relacionado con el
point
espacio
C,
físico
the
del destino, ¿no? La
requirements are
protección
a
medioambiental, ¿no?
physical
Pues eso,
space,
cómo se está gestionando las
environmental
energías renovables,
protection, how to
qué niveles de
manage
eficiencia energética van a tener,
renewable
cómo están controlando el ciclo
energies,
del agua, perdón,
water
cuál es la
recycling,
limpieza urbana, la gestión de los
control
residuos,
the
pues esos niveles del
cleaning of
compostaje, si tienen
cities,
programas de
compost, if
compostaje hacia los vecinos, en
they
fin, todo
have
este tipo de cosas, ¿no?
neighbor
Concretamente, pues
compost
eso, ver
programs,
cómo
and
se está gestionando toda la
how
contaminación
all
acústica,
this,
cómo se está
yes,
gestionando,
also
qué
noise
legislación tiene
contamination, no,
el
noise
destino en esa
pollution
materia, si tiene una legislación
is
adicional
managed
a la que de
if
forma por las leyes nacionales o comunitarias
according to
tiene que tener,
law,
¿no? How
they
es su
are
medida de
managing
protección
that, how are they protecting
frente
all
a
these
vertederos ilegales
elements
y cómo está
in
gestionando esos
case
recursos
of
naturales que
illegal
tiene, ¿no? Pues todo
landfills,
esto
and
lo englobamos
all
dentro de
these
este ámbito C.
elements are
En el
in
ámbito
this
B,
area
bueno,
C, and
tenemos
in the
aquí
area
la
D
sostenibilidad
we
económica
have
y
the
social, ¿no? Que es en la que
economic and
analizamos
social
pues desde varias perspectivas,
sustainability
¿no?
from
Vemos
different
en parte
angles,
la calidad
and
turística,
we see
cómo es la economía local, cómo
touristic
está en materia de
quality
formación
as to local
y empleo,
economy,
qué
training,
actuaciones tiene el destino, cómo es la participación ciudadana, ¿no? Si esa
activities of
participación
the
ciudadana que queremos y que va a hacer
destination,
que
citizen
eliminemos posibles reticencias
participation,
y que al
if
final los
they
beneficios no solamente se queden
refuse,
en las
or
empresas, sino que se
and so
propaguen
that the
hacia
benefits
todas
are
las
not
personas
only
que
for
viven
the
en el destino, ¿no?
companies, but
La asistencia sanitaria
spread
de la gente que viene a
into
vernos, ¿no? De
population,
ver
the
cómo
medical
cómo está protegiendo el destino, ¿no?
assistance,
Qué recursos tiene en
so
verano cuando tiene
see the
más carga de
resources
turistas, qué recursos
in high
tiene gente
season,
de protección civil, qué recursos tiene
civil protection
para
resources
proteger o para informar, simplemente para
to
informar a los
protect or
turistas de posibles
inform
crisis o de
tourists
posibles amenazas de
about
cualquier tipo,
any
¿no?
crisis or
Todo este tipo de cosas, ¿no? Vamos
warnings.
a proteger, pues eso,
So
en el ámbito de
let's
todo lo que sea la
protect
economía
all
local,
what
la
has to
astronomía
do with
local, productos kilómetro cero,
local
todo lo que es
gastronomy,
conservación, perdona,
kilometer
acciones
zero,
formativas y oportunidades de
training
empleo vamos a tener
programs,
también para que sea sobre todo de empleo justo, ¿no?
work
Que es donde
creating,
más
fair
nos centramos también. ¿Qué
working
colaboración se tiene
places, and
junto a los
collaboration
empresarios desde la parte
with
pública hacia la parte empresarial, ¿no? Para
entrepreneurs,
ver qué
and
beneficios
in
pueden
order
tener
to
de forma
see the
conjunta, ¿no?
benefits we can obtain jointly,
estamos midiendo
and
qué
we measure
satisfacción tiene el residente, ¿no? Claro, frente al turismo y la satisfacción del visitante. No solamente el visitante, sino el residente también. Vamos a controlar la asistencia sanitaria y la seguridad y la gestión de crisis, como os decía antes. Al final, esto lo hacemos de una manera relativamente sencilla, sencilla para los destinos. Nosotros cuando abordamos, cuando un destino quiere ser un destino turístico inteligente, lo que empezamos a abordar con ellos es que nos empiecen a dar información, ¿no? Lo bueno de esto es que la información nos la da el propio destino, con lo cual, bueno, pues la fiabilidad suele ser bastante buena, porque son ellos. Además, es una información que nosotros siempre pedimos que se tiene que certificar. O sea, no nos vale con que un destino nos diga, no, yo sí gestiono de forma adecuada mis residuos. Bueno, pues dame pruebas de que eso es así. O sea, hacemos como una auditoría al propio destino, ¿no? Cuando nos dice que tiene, pues, no sé, pues tiene relación con los empresarios, pues les vamos a pedir si tienen verdaderamente un consejo o algo similar con los empresarios, y que es así, bueno, pues envíame un acta para que vea yo quién está participando y quién no. Y todo esto lo hacemos, lo cuantificamos. O sea, no solamente son apreciaciones de la persona que esté haciendo el diagnóstico o que esté haciendo un informe diagnóstico, que es lo que hacemos, sino que sea algo verdaderamente medible, que si lo hace una persona hoy, coincida el resultado con lo que hará otra persona otro día, ¿no? Y al final no cambia. Nos da muchísima información del destino y sobre todo nos permite una cosa que es determinar cómo están los destinos a un día determinado. Y esto lo vamos repitiendo al cabo del tiempo. Además tenemos una herramienta que permite al propio destino modificar los datos de estos indicadores. Cuando llega un destino y hay un cambio en cualquiera de los 261 indicadores, el destino cambia ese indicador, nosotros validamos esa información y una vez que validamos esa información, pues le damos una nueva calificación, ¿no? Las calificaciones de cada uno de los ejes van sobre 100 y luego se da una nota global que está ponderada, no todo vale lo mismo, como no podría ser de otra manera.
Luis, un minuto.
Sí. Que me queda un minuto, vale. Y vale, al final, lo que a nosotros nos interesa es que un destino que quiere ser inteligente, no solamente tiene que ser sostenible, sino que además tiene que ser medible, ¿no? ¿Y por qué tiene que ser medible? Y quiere ser inteligente. Pues porque si no se le puede medir, no va a poder nunca mejorar. Y por eso utilizamos indicadores para poder mejorar esa sostenibilidad de un destino. Y gracias.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Muchas gracias, Luis. Thank you very much to everybody. So we are running out of time, but perhaps we can make a quick question to everybody. So it's a general question for you, because you all spoke about data, about measuring sustainability, but how difficult is for a destination to measure the sustainability in their destinations?
You want to start?
You want me to start? It's very difficult. It is very difficult. This is why we are still discussing it. I think that the most important thing is to know that sustainability is a process. And if you see it like that, you know that you have to start somewhere to depart from. But as I mentioned before, I think the very first thing is that you assess your baseline. So if you plan to act in a destination towards a specific resource, and we heard about many resources here now, then the very first thing is that you know your initial baseline, so that you see that your action is addressing something and what is the performance of your action. And the other thing we need to remind is that the tourism sector was lacking in the past significantly of this understanding of sustainability. And while it is a sector continuously growing, and we see that at the international level, and our forecast for the year 2030 also gave a model already of how much domestic tourism we are expecting to see in the year 2030. It's just amazing. And when you get this understanding, you need to see that our actions have to be catalytic. Now you combine these two things, baseline, actions, performance. And as resources are limited, and you heard that throughout the entire day, you have to dedicate then the resources to those most catalytic actions, which are triggering then larger changes. Yeah, many of us are willing to contribute a piece, but if we don't know, time is over. If we don't know to what extent this is a coordinated or joint effort, then we don't achieve the larger and the better. So in the end, it's a complex answer to a simple question you raised before, and I think that is what you will even ask tomorrow at the end of the session, and you will get a similar answer. But we have to continue this journey. It's no longer a start here. We see and witness a lot of commitment, and that is actually very healthy. I can tell you that from WTO's perspective, we haven't seen something similar in the past. And right now, as we are the pandemic area, we see many destinations willing, many tourism actors willing to go this way of transformation. And as the battery of this microphone here is coming to an end, we see that Mallorca is leading with its commitment, and we congratulate Mallorca for that.
Yeah, thank you. And we have been discussing about the different indicators. So we have been discussing about the indicator that you have in the Sustainable Network of Tourism Observatories. We were mentioning also the indicator from Segitur. We have the indicators of sustainable tourism at the level of the European Union. When you go to a destination and they made the strategy to become a sustainable tourism destination, which data they need?
Well, in my opinion, we have to realize that most of the time destinations don't have the team, the time, and the resources, and even the knowledge on how to start. So this is pretty challenging, and there is also there is not a standard of indicators, and so I would do a call for managing the expectations in terms of what we should start measuring, because the most of the time what we find in a destination is that they want to start in zero and get to 10,000 in months, which is completely impossible, right? It's a mindset change that it's gradual, and we must start measuring specific things and making things happen in order to get more and more indicators. That's our proposal, and that's why we focus in just several indicators to start.
And perhaps, Jose Javier, you have shown an example from Mallorca, another one from Barcelona about mobility, and then how the people is moving around. So which is the challenge of sharing data to be more sustainable?
Okay, well, I mean, the question is that there are different topics. No? So in some of them, as we saw this morning, in the terms of waste, energy, water, all those things, or even in mobility. I mean, even though for mobility, things are not so easy, there start to be data, and the data is somehow there. You can start to quantify things. There are other things, as our colleague said before, also about questions like cultural issues, some economic indicators, even though some others are okay, that are very hard to estimate and much harder to model. So that's something that, including in computers and computer simulations, would be a very challenging thing, and it's a research question open for the future. So it's not something that we can have. In terms of access to data, the complicated or complication things are that many times the data are produced by by agents that are thinking in other questions, like for instance, what I was showing you about online social networks or about mobile phone records. They are thought more to give service to people in terms of users of the social network or users of the mobile company, and not so much to do other kind of things. So essentially, this is why we were so worried at the beginning about the limitations of these data sets. No? And then there is the point of accessibility, which is what you were talking about. No? So many of these data are proprietary, so they belong to companies, even though they are produced by users. So and they have a lot of value on two terms. No? So they have value in terms of the company, because of course they can use it for many different campaigns and many different questions, but they have also value from the terms of, from the point of view of the public managers. And that's something that we should have into account, in the sense that, for instance, when there has been big disasters, the question of, big disasters or even the pandemic, recent pandemic, the question of mobile phone records for mobility were essential. So those data, apart from the economic value that may have, and apart from the fact that they belong to someone, have a very strong public utility. And that's something that should have taken into account in the future.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we're out of time. We have here Ainhoa. I think we have to organize another event just to speak about that and sustainability, because I think this is a key issue and we have to close the session now. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry because we would spend like 2 more hours. It's very interesting, but we have to finish day 1 of this summit. Thank you so much to Dolores Ordóñez for moderating this session. Thank you, Dirk Glasser, José Javier Ramasco, Carlos Tendra, and Sergio Guerreiro and Luis Javier Gadea. They were with us online. Big round of applause for them for this last session of the day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And here finishes day 1 of the Sustainable Destination Summit, Leading the Transition. We hope you found this day interesting. It's time now to rest and get ready for the second part of this summit, which will be tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow we will have with us, we'll have the honor to have with us the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation, Spanish government, Ms. Nadia Calviño Santamaría, and we will also have with us the President of Balearic Islands, Ms. Francina Armengol. And also, I would like to remind you that there is an interesting social program scheduled for Friday evening and Saturday morning. You will be able to learn firsthand about some of the most interesting sustainability proposals being developed in Mallorca here. If you're interested, you know you have to confirm your attendance. And now, yes, you can go and rest. Thank you so much for everyone who's been watching us in the streaming. See you tomorrow. And thank you. Gràcies a tots vosaltres. Muchas gracias. Ens veiem demà a les 9:30 del matí. Nos vemos mañana a las 9:30 de la mañana. See you tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Bye-bye. Thank you. Pleasure.